morning.
Yes. And what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. It's great to stay up late. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hello, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the morning roast, and I'm, of course, Sugar Chris. And with me today is Mr. Shane. We're starting without Sim. He'll get here when he gets here.
It's because I'm here. It's because I'm here today.
That's right.
It's like, oh.
Yeah. Yep. We're starting up the co-host wars again. Shane has showed up on time. One point for Shane. But today we have with us Mr. Chris Fisk. Hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, I'm very happy to have you on. I did not know your comic existed until one day I was on Twitter and the always wonderful Mr. Tompa was sharing your project on the stream. I said, "What is this?" And I went and looked. I was like, "Wow, this looks really good."
Sweet, thanks.
So I had to reach out and get you on the show.
Sweet. Well, great to be here.
I haven't had a chance to look at it. This is all new to me. I'm pretty excited to see what we have today.
Yeah, but before we go into that, I have to bring the stream down a little. Unfortunately, I have to speak on something a little serious. Good friend of the channel, Mr. Hex Allen, recently had a family member pass. So if everybody would be kind enough to kind of give thoughts to him and everything. That's why we haven't seen him all that much, on the internet and making the rounds and promoting and all that good stuff. So please do keep him in your thoughts. And he also, if you want to, go check out his book, Nephilim Squadron, that would be great too, because I'm sure he's going to have expenses, and since he hasn't been able to promote and everything, I thought I would let everybody know what's going on with him, since he's been such a good friend of the channel and everything. I hate this. I've been seeing that a lot on Twitter, stuff going on with people's parents, and it makes me remember Dad, and I hate to hear it. Anyway, I apologize. I apologize for that. I just wanted to let everybody know what's going on. So let me check and see what's in the chat. Who's all's there? We got McGee. Hey, McGee. He says, yo. Look, McGee, I'm wearing my shirt. The good night. And let's see. We got Soul popping in. He says, welcome to the morning roast, where we're rolling a D20 because we like tabletop, but without Will Wheaton. And we'll look at a new Elf Saga. Good morning, Chris. Chris, not Chris. And chat.
Morning.
That's right. We got Yodam. Hey, Yodam. I hope you're doing well, sir. Soul's saying to you, Shane, that he had a good smile when he saw your morning roast promo. By the way, koalas are his favorite animals and his first plushie as a kid.
Not bears.
Nice. I actually made a bunch of those little promo things, souls in every single one of them. I can't leave all out.
Yeah, Why do I have Kermit the Frog like whispering into my ear, Shane?
Because you're
that one picture.
You're the puppet master, right?
Yes,
the show.
I'm pulling the strings.
Pull all the strings. So you gotta be, yeah.
Oh dear, Pale Rider's here. Wait, be quiet about that, Pale Rider. We got a new guest on. Don't be bringing up the dress.
Oh, it's strictly a comfort thing. Oh, wait, that Chris, sorry.
I was almost late for this show, everybody, because I noticed my fellow Chris in the background there has a fancy arcade cabinet, and I got very distracted and had to know more about it. Like, look at that fanciness.
Yep.
Got red in here. Well, whatever. Move on.
Oh dang! That love for red.
All right. Let me bring up Infinito. There we go. So I guess first off I should start with the trailer and play this puppy here.
Sure.
We were all innocent once. That time is no more. The illusions of safety and assurance are inexorably dispelled by experience. On the world of Asperia, the children of the gods were torn from their sanctuary of a blissful ignorance and unchallenged dogma. Eventually, everyone must grow up, even the eternally young. A single act of defiance set events in motion that would shatter the very foundation of existence. As the conflagration of a great war burned through the lands, unlikely allies rose from the ashes to defy extinction. The angered gods sought to rid the world of a blight that had befouled their flocks. This infection was an unforgivable sin, the true knowledge of creation. Their wrath was cruel and merciless. These are the tales of the great war that destroyed our world, and of the heroes that led us to new lands beyond it. Infinito Chronicles, the War of the Trees.
Oh wow! Now that was a fancy
Felt
trailer.
like I was at like the IMAX theater. I know. I was like, I was invested.
Yes.
Getting ready for like
That was, like,
this is
awesome
a
up
big
close,
event.
man.
Like you get ready to drop a movie.
Where's my popcorn?
Like, ooh. Yeah, that was really well done, sir.
Oh, thank
Did you do that trailer yourself?
Yes. I
Wow.
obviously I didn't do the voiceover. You know, I mean, it was already hard enough to ask him to say, "Curse you, Raziel, bring me the Soul Reaver." You know, but yeah, I mean, I did stuff like this for a couple of other like YouTube streamers, and in a way, I feel guilty because it was kind of like practice. It was like, here you go. Here's something I experimented on. So,
Hey,
yeah,
whatever works.
yeah. Yeah, the problem that I had with the trailer was I didn't want to give away too much because the story that this thing is based off of, this whole comic book series is based off of, is almost, I'd say it's actually over 30 years old. I started this as a tabletop role-playing game system when I was like 13, 14. And it's kind of like the opposite route that Irene from Rini Draws is taking, where she developed the comic and then she's intending to do a tabletop role-playing game based off of it. Whereas this was basically Infinitale, infinite entails, your portmanteau it. And it harkens back to kind of the simpler times of storytelling. Like, one of the things that bothers me with a lot of modern stuff is there's always a lot of like preachiness, a lot of messaging. And one of the things that really struck a chord with me was I was reading some of the interviews with Tolkien. Obviously, there's a big inspiration for anybody that's in fantasy, Tolkien. But one of the things that, or one of his interviews was, he was talking about how, people were saying, oh, so the One Ring is basically an allegory for nuclear power, and what you're saying is that nobody should have it, and blah 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 blah. And Tolkien basically fired back. He's like, no, like I'm not preaching to anybody. Like there's no sermon in my book. It's a story.
No, it stands for the One Ring.
Yeah, like it's not my job or my business to tell readers what to think or feel.
Yeah.
Like
He's just a storyteller.
Yeah.
He's not a lecturer. He's a storyteller here.
Yeah, and if you get something out of it that somebody else doesn't, then that's awesome. I mean, that's it's your personal experience with a story, and I kind of miss that. Like, again, a lot of this is inspired by the old '90s anime. Like, I remember the first time I saw Ninja Scroll, and I was traumatized during that whole. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but when Tasai rips out Hanzo's arms, I was, teenager me was just like the Hitchcock camera effect. I was like, okay, I'm horrified, but at the same time, this is awesome.
That's back in the VHS days too. Like I remember being a kiddo and having to go to the VHS section. You had to be 18 or older to get those kind of things. So
yep, yeah, you got the little sticker.
Kids today can just like stream Ninja Scroll. Like I think it's actually on like 2 different streams now. I had to be like I give it to my dad. Like, can I rent this? Bad parenting at its best. He allowed that.
Oh yeah, woohoo! But yeah, if it went for bad parenting, probably half the movies I've seen I probably wouldn't have seen. But
it's true.
Yeah, well, just like what is it? I really like the old '90s-esque anime. I mean, come on, Cowboy Bebop to me is like probably at the peak. But I'm also like, this is like really really weird, but I also liked the Saturday morning cartoons. Like, do you guys ever remember the Pirates of Darkwater?
Yes.
The 13 Treasures of
don't know what I'm
Moon.
talking about when I say that. It was a very short season.
Yeah. Apparently, it didn't. The reason why they prematurely ended it, and they only had like 6 or 7 Treasures of Rule, was because production values were like through the roof. I mean, they had Tim Curry. They had like all these
Tim Curry was in it. Wow.
Yeah, and then on top of that,
Peter
the toys
Cullen?
weren't selling. Yeah. I mean, Optimus Prime and Megatron and Ray Stantz. But it just I loved that adventure style cartoon. I mean, it was a serial that kept you enthralled, that you wanted to keep coming back, and that was kind of what started the whole like role playing stuff. Like I remember it was really really bad. Like I was a dumb kid. Probably a dumb adult now too, but I was a dumb kid, and I didn't get into Dungeons and Dragons until a younger friend of mine actually got me into it, and it was at the local library, and the librarian there, I owe her everything. I mean, I really do. She took this quasi illiterate 12-year-old and turned him into a super nerd. But basically, I was
into
making
the man he is today.
Yeah, like pocket protector, just
just magically appears out of nowhere.
He has you need a big old D20 just hanging off your neck, big old chain. Yeah. D20.
Yo. But so the I was making my own kind of like game system or whatever with some hexagonal graph paper I had and all this stuff, and my friend is like, you got to go to the library. Like, they're doing this stuff. You got to check it out. So I did. And it was just like, it was like taking the first hit, and I read through all the stuff. And this is before the internet. I mean, I'm old. So, we had to actually memorize like the Dewey Decimal System and all that crap. And I ended up like loving all the D&D stuff. But at the same time, the arrogance of youth, I was like, I could do that. I could do better. No, I couldn't. Initially anyways. So I started researching my own kind of system, and that same friend that introduced me, he got a couple of his other friends, and then we got this big group together, and I ended up playing it for like 8 years, and we really liked it. And we're at the library, and different groups of people would shuffle in and shuffle out. Like, we'd have this big cycle of 8 years. I mean, you're not going to keep everybody's attention for the full almost decade of playing. And the librarian was like, just listening to this, like listening to your take on Dungeons and Dragons, or at the time Chris's game, or Elf Tale or Infinitale or whatever it was, she's like, we could get like a newsletter going for this fantasy group, and somebody can chronicle it. And we ended up having these chronicles from these game sessions. And, I ended up putting it aside. Like, this is, 8 years of just archived information. And I got on with my life. I put aside those childish ambitions, got a job, graduated high school, went off to university, blah, 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 did all that stuff. And then I ended up flying, I was living all around the world, Japan, California, and I still had this the container that I brought with me. It was like this weird chained manacle of crap. And it was all the notes and all the stories and stuff. And I never really got to it because when you're in the gaming industry, you're making somebody else's game. So you're not really there to make your stuff. So when I left the industry and I kind of changed career paths, I was like, I wonder if this stuff is really worth, keep holding on to. And I'm looking through it and I was like, holy crap, this is actually a pretty decent story. Because kind of the premise of Infinitale is one of the shortcomings I saw with Dungeons and Dragons was when modules were created and released, there was this whole concept of you're railroading your players. Like you have this set story this adventure module that you're putting your players through. And that works really well in video games because you have this finite, computers on infinite power or whatever. But when it comes to freeform tabletop, if somebody else has knowledge of that story, and that happened quite a bit, you would get these players that'd be like, no, this isn't where Lord Soth appears, and all this stuff. And it was like, oh God, somebody read the thing, and they know the adventure from end to end. So part of the Infinitale process was to modularize the components within the story and keep people guessing. So there was no set beginning, middle, and end that was static. It was more of a, for example, we had this one, players start off and they're all they all lost their memory or whatever, but they still kind of know some of their life and all this stuff. And part of the story was to get back their memory, and it turns out that there were different points in the story that it could lead to a different kind of branch or a different story altogether, where one of the things was one of the players was actually the bad guy who ended up memory wiping himself. So you had all these players going back and forth trying to figure out what the hell happened, almost like the game Werewolf, when the enemy was among them. And it was fun watching that play out. And it turned out later on that it wasn't that their memories were wiped. It was that they weren't really them. They were these eidolons or these golems that were created in their likeness, and that's why they didn't have their memories. And it was like, whoa, saw that was like the M. Night Shyamalan, what a twist, twist. And if somebody else played that same story, they could have taken a completely different path, and the story would have been something completely different. And we kind of like that in the tabletop sense, but it feels like a lot of these, more modern RPG stuff has gone straight through the railroading of video games, where it's like there's a very set path that you go through, and you only want to do it once. I mean, you already know what's going to happen. It's like rewatching a VHS, It's like, okay, fast forward to the boring, okay, I'm in the fun part. And so getting back to
Chris just discovered tabletop D&D, so he's probably just soaking all this in.
Oh, yeah.
He's playing a little mushroom man.
Oh
yeah, that's right.
Mushroom Man.
We got Sim, who finally hopped in late like usual.
Below me.
The man who cheats. The man who cheats on D&D. He just chops dragons' heads off. He just
I don't
screw the whole
cheat.
story.
That's not cheating.
cheat.
That's just killing,
It's cheating.
No, it's not. It's being efficient.
Don't listen to Chris.
I never listen to Sim.
Yeah.
He's that guy who probably pisses off the DM. Like, oh, you want to cut the dragon's head off, huh? You wait.
Yep.
You're gonna turn to stone.
That I do have to agree. I do enjoy that.
Let's see. Red said his butt's been wiped. Okay, Red. That's good.
That's nice to
Okay,
know.
by whom?
That's, I think this might have been in reference
Oh.
to the trailer. Maybe
Oh.
he's saying that the trailer was better than what he does. I don't know. But you do great trailers.
I don't know.
Don't sell yourself short. What's this? What did I miss? I had to put out a tweet telling people that Chris was. Gosh dang it, Pale Rider! Go away. It's also Shane was 18 4 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah,
I wish.
we got Lola with us. Craig's Outlet was asking where Sim was. He's here with us now. It's okay. Paradox says BECMI is the best edition. Bite me. What else we got real quick? All right. Caught up on the chat now. All right. So
are you still doing the role playing as well? Like, do you plan on finishing that after the comic, or are you just going to do comics now?
Well, so talking to a friend in the industry, he was explaining to me kind of part of why World of Warcraft had such a draw, and part of that was that MMOs are MMOs. You know, there are a dime a dozen now, but the thing that got people interested in World of Warcraft wasn't the MMO, but was Warcraft. They had years of story, they had lore, they had a universe that was explored in other games or other media, and it was something to entice them into the game world. And I was hoping that I can create these comic books that were kind of like an introduction into the universe to get people acquainted with it. And if they like it here, hey, there's interest. That would be the kind of the canary in the coal mine. There's a strong indicator here that people like this. Let's make a game based off of it.
yeah, and if you can, then we could have the game and we could stream it.
Yeah.
Stream everybody playing it and stuff.
This
He's hooked.
yeah. Just forget to
Any
my
excuse, Sim.
I know.
This particular series of Infinite Tale Chronicles is called The War of the Trees, and it's very Welsh and Irish themed. Céad Gathor, which means the War of the Trees, is actually part of ancient Hibernian or Celtic or Irish Gaelic mythology, talking about the first inhabitants of Hibernia or Ireland, called the Fovera, not spelt anything like they're pronounced. And what I did was, a lot of fantasy is, hey, let's look at what Tolkien did and put a spin on it, put our own little stink to the Tolkien universe. And I thought, being the nerd that I was, and I had this library at my disposal, why not go beyond Tolkien and go to see what Tolkien was inspired by? And that's when I started looking into British folklore, and a lot of the stuff isn't even really committed to text until hundreds, if not several centuries after they were passed through an oration. And it's not necessarily Irish mythology that I'm emulating. I'm just using lots of inspiration from it. And this story takes place in one of the two worlds that the game setting took place. The first world was Asperia, which is the world of the Fae, the world of magic. And this first saga, the War of the Tree saga, is almost like, it has certain Judeo-Christian-esque people leaving the Garden of Eden kind of thing to it, or children growing up and leaving their parents or whatever. But ultimately it's a doomed world, and the game itself takes place on a different world, and that world is more mundane. It's more non-magical. It's more like Vikings and medieval classics, stuff like that. So when this world, when the War of the Trees spills over into that other world, we start to see this kind of confluence of the magic versus the superstition of the mundane world. And by making the War of the Trees saga the first comic book series, it gives a good primer to the history of one of the two major factions in the game world itself, and that's the Alpha, or the elves, the Fey folk. And it's funny because in the actual, as the story progresses, we see this high fantasy setting where nothing's really magical yet. They discover kind of like releasing that magic, and then again, going back on what I was saying about Tolkien, not telling people about what they should feel about the One Ring. It was discovery of magic a good thing? Like, are we better off now that we have this this esoteric technology that could end worlds? And that's pretty much what we're trying to tell with this this first saga. Is it's that kind of maturation from childhood of everything you've known has been, you've been protected. You've never had to worry about the bad stuff. And when you start going out on your own, the bad stuff is really bad. And if you're not prepared, it will overtake you. And this was the first game we actually held back in 1991. So yeah, and sadly, and again, I'm going to go full dork on this, but prior to the library setting where we did the pen and paper stuff, we actually did like quasi LARPing, because again, I didn't really know Dungeons and Dragons all that well, and my dad, who is a constant unfinished project kind of guy, had this huge pile of drywall that was never going anywhere. I mean, we had a new edition that was 30 years old. I mean, it was unfinished. It's like, it's not a new edition. So we stole the drywall, and I cut out.
So the day he actually decides to go do it, he's like, I'm gonna put up some wall today. He picks up a piece of drywall. It's like a sword cut out. Like,
what's going on here?
Well, it's actually we would draw like dragons.
Damn that boy.
Like yeah, what the hell is wrong with that boy? But no, we did we did dragons and monsters or whatever. And unbeknownst to my dad, and he'll probably kill me if he finds out, but he had a lot of World War II memorabilia, and among them was my first sword, which was a bayonet from Italy, and it was about that yay long, and I give it to the player, and I had the scaffolding thing set up with 2x4s and wheels on a dolly, and they would just beat the living shit out of this drywall that was like a silhouette of something, and it was like, holy crap, like that. It's like it was a leg, like when they fought something huge, it was just a leg.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it.
So you had two strikes against your father on that one. You're using his drywall and his weapons.
And I stole his heirlooms. Yeah.
If I seen you using one of my bayonets like that, I'd have whooped your ass.
That boy ain't right.
Chris.
D&D, LARPing got real quick.
Well, yeah, like some of the we actually graduated in weaponry too. Remember the old shop at home networks, like, hi, this is Tim Ordale and this is my Kitana.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I bought one of those. And that friend that I had, he's this little guy. He probably weighed about as much as my thigh. And he thought it was the coolest thing ever. He's like, you got a samurai sword. This is awesome. And we went out into the woods, and he just swung the sword as hard as he could at one of those like sapling trees. And it did the bamboo jump that you see in anime where it went. And we just sat there and went, cool. Awesome. So that was... But we ended up, breaking things like, and it got to the point where we're like, okay, we can't do this. This is dangerous shit. Like, this is stupid.
So the arm falls off. Shoot.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like the South Park episode where
the shuriken in the eye.
So we ended up, going to the library, and the librarian's like, hey, I know your high school treats you like a criminal, where you have to have, like 100+ hours of community service to graduate school. So I'll tell you what, you babysit the community kids. These are strangers, just keep them in line. And you can use your Dungeons and Dragons game that you're making or whatever, and I'll give you all the hours you need to graduate. And I was like, okay, cool, deal. These beta testers are free, free range, and they ended up. Most of them liked it. I mean, we ended up playing for 8 years, so clearly there was something there to keep people stuck, and that was how we kind of evolved from the G.I. Joe figures to the beating the crap out of drywall to actually committing this stuff to pen and paper, traditional RPG stuff. And then, after I left the gaming industry about 8 years ago, I was looking through all of the, the stuff in my shipping container, and I was like, I could put this into a story. And talking with my friend over at in the industry, who said, you should totally do it. Just make the story or whatever. If it's inviting enough, people will want more. And if it's not, hey, you made one book and cut your losses. So I started looking through it, compiled it. I reached out to High Concept Media, this guy Zen, who said, yeah, I can help you with your comic. And the two of us started compiling comics. He contracted out some amazing artists. I've been really grateful to being able to work with some of these super talented artists on the team. And one thing about me is I'm a firm believer in giving credit to artists, which is a weird thing in like, say, the gaming industry, where they intentionally keep artists anonymous, and that really bothered me. So I make it a big deal to always like, hey, so-and-so did this piece, or this cover was made by so-and-so, or interior art is by so-and-so, rather than just, Chris Fisk Media presents, if you'd like, I can share some of the art that we've been amassing over the years, if that's cool.
Oh, sure. But before we get right into that, Soul has a very good and important question. He says, what's the story pitch, and are you related to the Kingpin?
Curse you, Spider-Man! You and that blind lawyer have fouled my family for far too long. No,
Yeah, do you have an elevator pitch ready for this?
Yeah, the lift pitch has been tossed into pretty much everything that I've been kind of throwing out in print. But I guess the one sentence is, this is a epic fantasy comic book series that it's one universe, multiple characters. That's pretty much it. The idea is that it's almost anthological in that it has different sagas. The first saga, War of the Trees, focuses in on the primary protagonist. As you can see in the image here, we have Ashlyn and the Elf Queen and her husband, Kaelin. And there seems to be some nasty business there with a Hydra. But that's just one saga. The stories continue, and it actually spans generations. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is very wide sweeping. Yeah. Pale Rider's got important question. He says, "Is there a Bargle type character? If you don't know who Bargle is, don't worry about it." Do you know who Bargle is?
Unfortunately, I do not know who Bargle is. Could somebody please enlighten me?
Well, sorry, Pale Rider.
Yeah.
I don't know if you really want to be enlightened now.
Uh-oh. Is it like
Well, it doesn't surprise me considering it's coming from Pale Rider.
I don't know. I'm checking it right now.
Bargle is called the Infamous for the horrid deeds attributed to him. A lean, handsome man.
Creator outlet says in this age of fear, we're not allowed together to play at local
Okay.
game stores.
Bargle is called the Infamous for the horrid deeds attributed to him. A lean, handsome man, Bargle can be charming, but it's a game thing. So hold on, let me click on it.
Gosh dang it, Pale Rider. You're derailing the
Bargo's a name to. Okay, so Bargo, a name that draws recognition from our generation of gamers brought up on the 1983 D&D Red Box. His focal status is such as widespread product made him an iconic character who then cropped up in several later product. This geek list, yeah. So it's a character.
Cool.
Okay.
The more you know.
Are these two
Yeah.
elf here is that food they're making?
Ah, yes. So what we
It's got-
see.
Those
in
are some
this-
giant chicken nuggies.
You know,
Yeah.
I thought it was
Hell of a
gonna be
marker.
some. I don't know if I thought he was talking like something like Leroy Jenkins. I don't know if you heard about that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
Let's start chicken.
Leroy
chicken?
Jenkins.
The Mortal Kombat remix is awesome.
But it was a bad guy in the old basic edition, he says.
Man, I remember the original. Like, I think I still have some of the original books. After I didn't. These weren't the ones that I borrowed indefinitely from the library. I returned those, I swear. But I remember the blue and white covered book that I remember getting at a hobby shop. Remember hobby shops? Like, those things seem to have pretty much died out. They've all turned into like comic shops now.
Not just that, it's nobody has hobbies anymore. Everybody's hooked on their phones.
Yeah, that is true.
I
That's
think
true.
I think there's a Hobby Lobby like 45 minutes away, maybe somewhere.
Well, one of the things that I look back on fondly, and it confuses me why, because of the amount of money I spent on lead, but was entering into this one hobby shop, and they just had this wall of Raupatha lead figurines, and I think I owned like most of those catalogs. Like, I would be the guy painting, and now they don't even, like, after apparently some kid ate them or whatever and ended up dying of lead poisoning. So then they had to remake them in something called Validium, which was like a leadless pewter. And the 25 millimeter scale that all of my other figures were at were suddenly changed to like 28 millimeters. And it's like you had like Raceland was this big and Caramon was this big. And it was like, come on. I don't know,
That stuff's still pretty big in this area because we have. I can think of like 7 shops that sell that type of stuff just around here. So at least in
That's
Ohio, it's
awesome.
still big. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there used to be like one shop that I know of down towards Cumberland that would sell like model trains and things like that.
I'm like,
And that's all I can think
it
of.
It had to be Ohio where the Simpsons are.
Hey, 24 hours. Hello. Let's see. And Soul says, of course, it's in something called the Red Box. Oh, Chris Allen says, Hobby Lobby isn't a hobby shop, Chris. Oh, sorry.
No
I-
need.
No, I wasn't
It's
going
a
to correct
lobby.
you on it. I'm like, that's an old ladies store. The Hobby Lobby's like where you go for like, there's wall decorations for like this inspirational bullshit. That's like the Hobby Lobby.
All I know is that my niece has been there because she needed it for some of her stuff she does that involves like gluing things,
do have
and
paints.
different crafts, different
we
like
gotta look at
crafting stuff.
Did you
But for like
see
the
that
miniatures
meme?
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Somebody was posting a meme about those inspirational wall hangings. You know how the ones that say like family or bless this mess or whatever. The meme was wife told me to post to get inspirational wall hanging for the foyer, and it was just a picture of like a full wall picture of Macho Man that says "cream and a crop rise to the top."
Yeah. The green rise to the top.
Oh yeah. Oh man, but yeah, I guess getting back to the comic, yeah, I mean, imagine a world where the gods walk among the disciples.
Well, that was reality until Macho Man died.
Yeah. Well, I heard he thwarted the apocalypse.
yeah, that's what it was. Right, he stopped Ragnarok.
That
Yeah.
explains so much.
Just like
It
Elbow
was
drop
the end of the
Fenrir.
world.
Oh
Yep.
Lord.
I'm coming for you, Elizabeth.
Found out like Odin was looking at Elizabeth to start beating the shit out of her.
Oh no! Best Skyrim mod, by the way, Macho Dragon.
Oh yes, that was a glorious
Yeah.
one.
It's just the opening scene alone, where you hear it echoing off the mountain.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell was that? And you just hear, "Stop in the mountain." I'm wild, yeah.
Oh my god, it was perfect. It was and I left that mod on the whole time. Just,
Yeah,
just be running around and you just hear it.
Just this like weird monkey thing going, yeah.
Yeah. Ah.
But yeah, this is the first few pages that explains kind of I guess the history, or the kind of the origin myths of the first book, called Second Genesis. The title actually gives away some of the story, but I'll leave that for the reader to decipher.
And
oh, sorry, what was that?
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. I can ask after you're finished.
Okay. Sorry. So the elves in this world, or at least a lot of the characteristics, aren't taken from Tolkien. They're not just like good-looking people that are taller than everyone else. They're not the tall Nords or whatever. Like, for example, one of the myths that I was reading was about the fairy folks' aversion to iron. So any ferrous metal or alloy, like steel or whatever, they can't use. It gives them that like biting into a fork sensation, or nails on a slate or something. So all of their weapons are or arms or whatever, armor, everything is made out of orichalcum or bronze or copper, or brass or gold or whatever. And there are other things as well. If you've ever seen I think there's an anime, Captain Harlock. It's an old space.
Sim knows about that one.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that one. But there's an alien character who's among the crew, and she has these really piercing large eyes, and I kind of adapted that. Again, this is the 80s. So
I'll be back in a second. You go ahead. I'll be back in a second. I'm just hearing something outside. I need to see if that's important.
Okay. Please open up.
So trying to make sure that the niece is not putting the house on fire.
Yeah.
Chris is getting raided.
Yeah. It's like, why are there flashing blue and red light?
we just hear just smoke.
He leans in. He's like, "Oh, this is gonna be a little longer than I thought."
Your cream rises to the top, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You won't catch me.
Flip to a Slim Jim. All right. But yeah, it sounds like you said that you've been doing this for you've had this for many years, like it's a passion project. So how have you gotten really deep into the world building, like all kinds of like even minute little details that will probably never be in the story?
Oh yeah. In fact, I can't remember if it was a website actually, and I wish I could remember it. But there was a website that went through kind of the do's and don'ts of like world development. It wasn't for a comic book or a role playing game. It was actually for a movie, which was weird. Because my earlier days, I thought I could make movies or whatever. But that's another story. And part of the do's and don'ts, one of the do's was, you never can have too much information. It's more of what you like. Having more information than the user sees is integral to producing a believable world. If you're, and this goes into like role playing as well. Like if your dungeon master doesn't know as much as your players, then your world becomes extremely small. Where, wait, that could do that, or there's a corner in a round room, or something to that effect. So part of the world building was developing everything and anything and everything that was inconsequential or completely trivial, but making sure it's on hand if players asked for it, or there was something that, again, you got like eight years of beta testing, you're bound to find something that you don't know. I mean, it's not, nobody knows everything, and people, the fig jams that do say that are, generally people you get like that movie Zero Charisma, where they're not very likable people when they know everything. So that's why I relied upon a lot of research, a lot of these books where there were things where it's like, well, I don't know, rather like Monty Python there. What is the flex velocity of an unlimited?
I don't know that.
So I'd be like frantically looking at books, and the dude, oh shit, we got something for herbalism, and then I'd go and find it. And like, okay, whew. And then I'd make notes of that and be like, okay, this is now an established herb or whatever. And then from there, it just became cataloged, and we've got the world. And like, for example, the world of Esperia, it has a giant ringed moon that is pervasive in the sky, both in day and night. And its sky is actually amethyst or purple rather than blue. And one of the things that one of the characters in one of the later stories noted when they entered into basically what would equate to our world, this mundane world, their first note, other than the fact that the sky was blue and it was really weird for them, was that the days were shorter, and it smelled like, he's like, I can smell everything. It's rotting. This world is rotting, and it's definitely a nice contrast between the spiritual elements of Esperia, like in the stories of Tirnanog and Irish mythology, versus our real world where everything does stink. You go into a big city and it's like, it smells like a litter box in here.
Yeah.
So there are little things like that, and as a storyteller, or rather than calling myself a DM, because that's Dungeons and Dragons, I was the narrator. And part of that narration when you're selling the world is you got to hit all those senses. When you're describing something, make it so that the theater of the mind is actually fully fleshed out, rather than having people guess, is there a light on in this room? Is there any light source? Or like they'd make an action, you'd be like, oh, that's not exactly what it looked like, or something. Mm-hmm. So
let me check the chat real quick. Oh, hey, look, Michael T's here. Says, morning all. Thanks for stopping in earlier, Chris. Bow. Yeah, no worries. I always try to tune into your streams when I'm at work and everything. It's always fun to listen to. And then we also had Rich Ayala join us. Is dipping in the morning roast. What's up, chat? Yeah, we gotta have Rich on whenever he starts getting ready to launch his roach balls.
Roach balls.
That should be an interesting one.
Yeah, I've seen some of the artwork on his, I think it was on his Twitter, and it looks pretty cool. I like this. It looks like an interesting style and everything. Let's see. Soul saying to other Chris, he says, less pop culture references, more about the book.
Well, you get to know you get another creator where his mind's at for the project, man.
Soul is the sheriff of the chat, and apparently he's dipping into being the sheriff of the stream too. he's like, hey, keep on track over there. Watch your ass.
Well, when you deal with fantasy, it's nice to know when the creator comes up with something new that they're familiar with how fantasy works. A lot of times when in this kind of style, So
yeah,
I think it's interesting, at least.
Oh, thanks. The again, because it came
because anybody can just write an elf story. You know what I'm saying? Like, I watched Lord of the Rings. Let me go write something about elves. So it's nice when somebody can add to it and they know the lore of the culture. The history of the fantasy. You grew up doing all that stuff, the D&D, the playing the World of Warcraft when it started and what it developed into now. And so I find it interesting.
Cool. Well, I'm hoping that
it's just over Soul's head today. I don't know.
Well, maybe he's replying to something earlier, because I apologize. I I guess I'm
Maybe.
long-winded. I ramble a lot.
Oh, no
Uh,
worries. Is this your first book, or it's your first campaign and stuff?
Yes. This is my first campaign, and I'm using it as a means to gauge interest. To you know, what I mean, it's if there's a market for it, if there's actual interest in it, then I'll keep going. And if there's not, I mean, I cut my losses. And I actually self-funded this entire book, so I'm not using the Indiegogo campaign to kind of fund the production. I'm using it as more of a means to either recoup some of my investments, or just to invest into the next book. Because when I first approached Zen about this, he's like, "This thing's over 50 pages." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Most comics aren't like that. Like you're diving in pretty deep there." So I wanted to make it the that first impression. You only get one, so I wanted to start off with a bang and give 50 full color pages of our opening story into this world.
Well, I
And
definitely think that there would be a market. People are going to want this, demand or market for it. It's just getting the word out. Letting people even knowing it exists. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is like I have a pretty firm foundation in fulfillment. As far as printing goes, I mean, I worked for a newspaper for almost a decade. I'm well versed in printing and fulfillment, but when it comes to starting these campaigns and promoting and stuff, I mean, I've got a face for radio and a voice for print. So as far as promotion goes, it's been a bit of a challenge. I mean, I just getting
It's
the
a
news
learning
out
curve.
there. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Is this your first stream, or have you been on others?
You are the first person to interview me.
There you go,
Oh
Chris.
wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot worse. I think this is going pretty. I would assume
Yeah,
you've been on plenty.
There you go. You
yeah,
pop
yeah,
another cherry,
well,
Chris.
Yeah.
We've had people who's just like, I made a comic book.
Yeah, I mean, you're much more
I like the face.
I have a page.
you're much more sociable than than some of the other first time guys. But a lot of them are just super nervous, and so they don't know what to say. You know what I mean? You're doing a lot better.
I'm not nervous at all. I'm not nervous.
Well, what I like too is because we do have people who think they have the greatest project and they don't want to talk about it. They're always like, I got this scary book. It's got a monster, but I can't tell you anything about it.
Yeah, I can't reveal anything. You need to.
Yeah. So I kind of like the fact that that's when you go into your D&D lore and stuff. So that way you don't have to tell us everything about your book, but we know that you're knowledgeable enough to present something well. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, I mean, I'm super excited that I've had the opportunity to make this. I mean, because I've been trying something to get this out in some way, shape, or form for 30 years. So, it's one of those things where I'm really jazzed about it. I want to make sure I can make other people jazzed about it. I mean, hopefully, it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I'm hoping that showing them kind of the world that has been created over 3 decades is worth kind of visiting. It was fun to make, and I'd love that same kind of geeky zeal that I had as a 13-year-old when I was reading Dragonlance or Forgotten Realms.
That's what I was trying to think of. Dragonlance. I knew there's another big one. That's one thing I think comics kind of needs is the next Dragonlance kind of thing, because I can't think if there's anything other than what's that one character, Draith or something like that.
In Dragonlance,
R.L. Salvador made. I know he's.
Driz de Orden.
I don't know if he's in Dragon. Driz. Yeah, sorry, I knew it was something like that.
Yeah,
I know that's a big character, but that's the only thing that really comes to mind that's been huge that I could think of in the fantasy side of things for a while. That's kind of gone into comics. I believe it's comics now, right?
I think so. Yeah.
It'd be kind of nice to see something else kind of pop up. And
they just had a Magic the Gathering set for D&D, and he's in that too. And
well, Magic the Gathering has become the Fortnite of trading card games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, if you'd like, I can share.
You don't like
the,
Magic the Gathering there, Chris?
I don't know. I love that. I love old Magic the Gathering.
I haven't played for a couple of
I'm not
years,
as-
but
Yeah,
I
I'm not
enjoy
as
it.
into it as I used to be.
No, I always had to go get those players that have like the $800 decks. So I'm like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. I pretty much exclusively play kitchen sink nowadays.
yeah. It's,
Yeah,
kinda
that's the
going
funnest
into
way
a
to do
bad
it.
matchmaking.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me check. See what people are saying.
And did you ever see the new art on those cards? Damn it!
Yeah, some of it's
Of what?
It's
Magic?
pictures. It's pictures
Yeah.
with the costumes
Yeah.
over people.
Hmm.
well, I
Yeah.
mean, they've
I like-
gotten
Really?
rid
The
of
new stuff?
artists.
Yeah, the new cards. That's what it is. Like it's actual. It's pictures of people
Alright,
that are
let's-
painted over.
Michael T says he's okay with pop culture references. Lets him identify with the creator. He feels like he's represented. Hashtag inclusive.
And they used to have some of the biggest fantasy artists on there.
Yeah, well, I've worked with a couple of them when I was in the gaming industry. A lot of the concept artists actually came from Magic the Gathering and stuff, and
Mhm.
some of the most amazing people I've ever met. I mean, some of the nicest, and it was really sad like last year where one of the artists ended up getting canceled because her work was,
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. She did the one Navigator woman. Yeah,
and it's like
yeah. She did great work.
all that talent, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, if talent was a tangible thing, I would be the biggest house burglar. I would be robbing people blind. Like,
Give me that. Give me.
yeah, it's just it's talent is something that not everybody has. So the people who have it, it's something you got to cherish.
Mhm.
And it's only temporary. You're not going to have that forever. And like Larry
Screw you.
Elmore.
I tend to keep it.
Yeah, it's mine. That's my birthday. No, like Larry Elmore, for example, he's not doing commissions anymore. Larry Elmore was the face of Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid. It was him, Jeff Easley, Keith Parkinson, rip, a couple other people. Just and now they're like, yeah, we're not really doing, like we're getting old. And it's no, like that you were that's how I pictured your like the games. So
Yeah. Randy Zimmerman, another friend of the channel. He does Indie Volt. He actually knows the lady who did like a lot of the art for like the Alpha and all series, the first sets of series for Magic.
nice.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's awesome. Like some
Those
of
are
that,
good friends to have.
I do
Phil that
love
did
like,
the Lotus.
yeah, and stuff like that. Yeah, and man, like some of that old art is just exquisite. I love some of the old Magic art.
If you'd like, I could share some of the art from from this book series and from the game world.
Yeah. Show us more, please.
Okay. See if I can share my screen.
I don't know what we're looking here. Powder says the writers of Dragonlance just announced they are putting out a new campaign setting here shortly. Oh, nice.
Nice, Hickman and Weiss. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, they won that lawsuit, didn't they, against Wizards of the Coast? Pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
Like that's great.
What did they win? What were they fighting for?
Basically, Magic was screwing with them. Like they were trying to put out like another book, but like I can't remember how it worded it. I've watched videos on it and everything. Like they were going to put out a book. They had like certain guidelines, and basically, Wizards of the Coast was like trying to censor their book. Like, oh, you can't have a love potion. That's not PC, basically. And they kept sending it back. And then finally, they basically just were like, Wizards of the Coast was not going to deal with them anymore, but they weren't going to like cancel the thing. So they just kept sending it back. So it just got into a stalemate. So I think then that's when they sued, and they apparently won their lawsuit and everything. Or no, they settled. That's what Michael T's saying. They settled. Lawsuit was settled out of court. Oh, awesome. Well, hopefully it went in their favor.
Yeah. It's pretty scary stuff when the party censors your media.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Truth has deemed your work, heretical.
Yeah, isn't it weird that the other people control and own your own stuff?
Yeah, that's again, that's why I love the indie stuff. Is nobody, like, for example, like, I'm a big fan of Fiendish, Rini's stuff. Nobody's going to tell her shit. Like, nobody is going to dictate to her. Her book is her.
Yeah.
And I love that about it. I love that we're getting her vision, and we're not getting somebody that's like, well, you can't have love potions.
Yeah. Well,
That's
yeah,
pretty
well,
rapey.
Orcs
Well,
are racist.
Well, we did a survey, and it says that this, so you need to change that. This might be a little offensive to some people, so you need to change that too.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever happened to it being okay to be offended?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
totally, like, just
Nobody
be offended.
used to care. Nobody used to give two fucks if you got offended, because being offended is relative to anything.
Yeah, like,
It's personal. Like, like I love Steve Hughes' piece on it. He goes like, dude, boy bands offends him. Like, I'm offended by boy bands.
BTS.
One night you get, one night you get offended. The next day you have leprosy. That never happened.
I saw BTS and broke down with herpes.
It's like, come on, grow the fuck up, people.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess what we're seeing on the screen here is one of our early concepts done by an artist, Zed Edge. Well, that's what he goes by. His name's Zach. You can find him on various websites like DeviantArt. And when we were designing our characters, we were looking at different art styles, and I've gone through several of them. I'll show a couple later on, but these are kind of our main protagonists or main characters from the first book. And as we can see here with Ashlyn, we have the pregnant variant and the not so pregnant variant. And that comes into play because the first book opens with a kind of an unfortunate birth. In the elfin world, it's matriarchal, where the men are expendable, kind of like ants or some other colony insect. And part of their deal with the gods is that they offer up living sacrifices, and they do so with a kind of a lottery system. And let's just say that only the men are included in the lottery. So yeah, it sucks to be these guys. Some of the other things you'll
Damn.
notice.
Death by snoo snoo.
Yeah, exactly. But ladies, please. The mind is willing, but the body is soft and spongy. But so we see some of the royal clothing, very, very lavish and stuff, and it's funny because it's not always going to be like that, as we can see here with this more dirty homeless man guy. Stay a while and listen.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, exactly. And we can see some of the weapon designs that we've created for the elves that are very unique to the Elf society. Again, they're made out of the oracle, the bronze or the brass. And for example, the sword, the cletho, and the wairin, which is a type of short blade. The standard weapons that the royal family here uses, as we can see, it's kind of sheathed on his belt, and it's like, wow, these are definitely weirder than the typical like Dungeons and Dragons weapons. And the reason for that is one of the things that really bothered me when I was looking into arms and armor and fantasy research and stuff is a lot of times elves were just, again, humans with pointed ears or pretty people, and I wanted to create a more unique identity. And I kind of researched back before Tolkien and looked into things like the Aishi or the Seelie and the Unseelie, which, the Lhosafar or the Dokulfar from the Norse mythology. And that's kind of where a lot of these designs came from, was rather than just being, hey, look, here's another generic Dungeons and Dragons guy, 4,000 whatever. We now actually have a unique kind of a unique ethnic identity here. And it's like, for example, why are they all barefoot? Like, that seems kind of dumb. As if you're in the military, like, that's just an easy chop, You get in a fight with somebody, it's like, chop. But there's a reason for that. The elves are elemental people. They're very spiritual.
Touch with nature, so when their feet touch the ground, they can feel it.
Exactly. And it's why they hate the desert. And also why they dislike iron, because the mere presence of any type of ferrous metal makes them uneasy. And silver, for example, is poisonous to them. So you won't find anything silver or iron or steel or anything amongst these Elvar people. And it's kind of weird because this story takes place before an event, or I should say, the story takes place before an event in the game called the Schism, which is a fracturing of the elfin races, where what we're seeing here are the Elvar people. But when players played the game, or I should say the second or third group played the game, we didn't have Elvar. We actually had a completely fragmented group of elves. We had the light elves, the dark elves, the wild elves, the Azrai, the sea elves. And there was a reason for that. They're elemental. They've been cut off from their world, and something really weird or something really wrong happened. But what we're seeing is kind of what leads to that. And, hopefully that story is engaging enough for people to go, I want to know why these elves look all weird in this art, but not in this art. And I guess can I show? So those are the characters. Again, here's some of the weapons.
Just make sure you don't share anything personal.
Yeah. There's no. I don't have that special folder on this desktop.
Yeah, that also gets some people canceled.
Yeah. Wait a minute, you got them clockwise and counterclockwise.
Multiple copies.
Yeah. So let's see. I guess I can get into the races. So again, going back on what I was saying about the kind of the weirdness. So these do not look at all like the other characters that we saw before, and there's a reason for that. These are the post-schism elves that have been cut off from their world and fragmented into different groups. And here's a different art style for it. Same race, just an earlier art style. And here is their dark counterparts. I don't know if they blend in very well, but
Nicely done.
So here we have kind of a racial breakdown of all the races. The race of men, the race of wee folk, the race of elves, satyrs, and Vaesen, or Wesen. These were, again, designed like 30 years ago or whatever. And I didn't want to rip off, like, for example, in the wee folk, we always wanted to have the cutesy, that cutesy race that, some players just like to play the adorable little, childlike character. And
I noticed how the men are different from one side to the other.
Oh yeah. So within
was it supposed to be say woman at the bottom?
Well, it's funny because linguistically, men is a neutral term, and the race of men is both men and women. Like women luck out; they actually get a special modifier to the word men, but men are just males are just generic men, and women are obviously they've got the from men or women. So yeah,
men are just the boring standard. Women are the special variant with boobs.
Yeah, they're the variant covers. But so when I was looking at like how Tolkien had the hobbits, he created the hobbits, and then Dungeons and Dragons had the halflings and all this stuff. I was like, well, what the hell could I grab for like a cutesy race? And I looked into Scandinavian mythology, and I came across the Tomtar. The Tomtar are, I believe, Swedish and Norwegian, and they may even be Danish, kind of elf-like creatures. In fact, the story of the cobbler and the elves is actually the Tomtar. The story was, when it was translated into English, the naming or whatever gets changed. But yeah, there's actually a pretty rich folklore behind the Tomtar. They're pretty badass, and they're not, even though they look like kids, they're tough as like they're pretty tough. And oddly enough, they bear a strange resemblance with the ears to the elves, and yet they are not elves. So there's something to that. And also, if you'll notice over here with the goblins, there are no orcs in this world. The whole concept of orc is a Tolkien thing, and obviously Warhammer and Warcraft like took it and rocked it. And putting in orcs, in my opinion, would just be like another like, hey, look, I'm borrowing something from them, and I wanted to create something else. And what I did was I treated the goblins are an unfortunate race. They're a byproduct of the schism. They are what happens when magic goes awry, and they are an amalgamation or a hodgepodge of the other races. So you'll see characteristics.
They're mutts.
Well, they're magically fused like monstrosities. And the cool part about it is player skill. Like part of the game mechanics is you can invest in your racial skills, and the goblins actually begin life as these strange creatures. Often, like when they either come from the union of other goblins, or they come from a misunion of the other elves, or the elves and the humans, or one of these other kind of crossbreeding. And it's a roll of the dice whether or not your child will be born a goblin. And that's where changelings come in, where the elves would kidnap human children, or one of the other races, or even the goblins would kidnap somebody else's child and replace it with their defective goblin spawn. And it's really tragic, because goblins get that bad rap, and obviously they're feral, but as given the chance, they can actually be pretty legit, decent people. And there's actually, there's characters that are like that. But here's one of the kind of unique aspects of the goblin, where you invest skill points into the goblin's racial skills, and you change from the hob, which is the small goblin, to the kobold-sized goblin, which is more man-sized, and they look almost like corrupted elves to a degree. But if you keep investing into their physical change, called the Hamask, they can actually kind of hulk out and become these ogres. And that's kind of, I would say there's some semblance to the orcs of, like, say, Warcraft or whatever. But the idea is that players can actually invest into that. They can pursue other skills and retain their hob forms if they want, or they could advance in levels into eventually becoming one of the more physically powerful brutes. So it's kind of a fun mechanic, and it's also a bit of a riff on the orcs that you see in a lot of other fantasy worlds. And then
that's interesting. I was actually just looking through like Pathfinder and stuff, looking for ways to permanently increase my size, how to make my guy bigger. So that's actually kind of funny.
Mushroom man. No. So here's just an example of one of the races of men, the Alkani. They obviously, the layman's term is the barbarians. They are the wild peoples of the mundane world called Munadea, and they based a lot on kind of a combination of a lot of Mesoamerican, a lot of Native American, and a lot of Celtic kind of tribal elements. We wanted to create kind of a unique identity for them. Obviously, there's more. There's more of the standard, like the Viking style race, the Kingdom Men, or as you can see in going back to this, we've got the Kingdom Men, the barbarians, the free men. These are the desert dwellers who've basically collapsed their empire and became free city states. And it's, I mean, I'm not going to tell people what to think, but it's the kind of beginnings of democracy, and that's why they're called free men. But a lot of it has organized crime, and because they're city states, there's a lot of disunity between the different city states, and oftentimes you'll see small wars breaking out. And then you have the empire of Great Fusang, the Sanghees people. In the Far East, there's this massive eastern continent of imperials that pretty much are isolationists, and they keep everyone out. And then the Shadow Men they were the first men of this world, and they were kind of toppled by these people's empire like thousands of years ago, and they ended up escaping into the frontiers and building themselves very similar to the way that the elves have kind of built themselves up with nature. And they're actually the best equipped for magic, because they're not confined by the same societal rules that have been imposed by magic use. Magic is kind of viewed as a dangerous weapon, and as such, it's been heavily regulated in something called the Order of the Nemesis, which is basically a mashup of all the different nations getting together and saying we have these politically neutral covenants that operate outside of normal like man's law, but whenever they mess up, the covenants would actually go and hunt down whoever messes them up. And messing up would be things like using magic that's not been sanctioned and stuff like that, because magic, again, is very dangerous. You don't want people playing around with plutonium rods. And I guess that's it for the races. Let's see if
Okay, let me see what people are saying in the chat while you're looking.
Cool.
Michael T says he's loving this. He's definitely added it to the list.
I'm glad I called that guy.
Pillar says, I know Chris is on that trip. No, I'm not. Be quiet, Pill Powder. I like this other Chris fellow. We don't need to scare him off with your dress talk.
Oh, Rocky.
Gosh, let's see. Yeah, Michael T had Irene on his show earlier. Fantastic guest with a lot of energy. Really excited for Fiendish. Yeah, a lot of energy is a understatement, Michael.
Well, she's awesome. I mean,
yeah, she is. She's a great person.
Yeah,
we all love Irene here.
Yeah, I gotta say this. Twitter did one thing positive. Like, I've generally thought Twitter was a big cesspool of angry people, but I ended up joining it to do the promotions for this, and I saw Rini on there. Rini Draws, and I was like, "What the hell is this? This looks awesome!" And it led me over to the Indiegogo campaign. I was just like, "Junk!" Backed. And yeah, I ended up jumping on her comment section on her channels, and I was like, this is what I want to see. Like, I'm not just a creator, I'm also a consumer. I'm one of the guys that wants this shit. I want to geek the hell out, and Fiendish looks like a perfect opportunity for me to geek the hell out.
Michael's saying it's always fun to see a creator pumped up about their own stuff. Gives him hope for his when it happens.
Hell yeah. I mean, if you got to get excited about your stuff, because if you don't, how can you expect others to? It's
It's also that Sim openly shares his midget videos to some people. It's just not a big deal.
Vertically challenged.
Don't talk about your sister that way.
Oh.
Soul is excited about the wee doggies, folk.
The wee doggy.
Whoa, Nelly.
He says, so the goblins are kind of like the French.
Oh.
Stinky pits and all, baby.
Oh, man.
Power says Gold Moon and Riverwind.
Yeah, there is some inspiration to the Dragonlance, or from the Dragonlance Plainsman. Although Gold Moon was yellow-haired, and Riverwind, did he actually end up surviving? I know he got killed like multiple times, but I know that guy got messed up. Whoever that player was must have really pissed off the DM.
I have no idea. It's been so long since I've read those books.
I thought pissing off the DM was the point.
Yeah, it's almost like a sport. It's like you want to ramp it up to the challenge rating.
You see the DM going, and you're like, yeah.
I feel accomplished.
It's not a game until I see bloodshot eyes. But so here's another art. This one's done by Michelle Hefner as well. She's the one that did the variant cover for the first book, where you see Ashland's face with Kaelin in the foreground. And he seems to be emerging from some type of vortex. The sky is a bit purplish, and he's got this weird crystalline staff, and holy crap, what the hell is that? So that is
nice.
Let's just hope he's right-handed, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you've definitely got some great artwork for this campaign.
I feel I've been really, really privileged to be working with people in the industry that, I mean, I could never even remotely hope to do this on my own. So I really appreciate my artist friends helping me out with this.
Yeah, I did see that, what was it? Some of the cover artists had done work for like video games and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Michelle has worked with Riot, has worked with Blizzard. Her work is amazing. She does, like, if you guys are into like cheesecake stuff, like, you know, I mean, she definitely knows what she's doing in that regard. It is absolutely amazing work. Yeah, this is one of the characters. Obviously, it's an Elvar, but it's not quite Kaelin. We don't know who this is. So, oops, actually, can I? Yeah, I can just flitz through them. So this is one. Oops, that's so. What is going on? I don't know what's going on there. I'll have to. Looks like it's a video corruption or something. So yeah, this is obviously the first variant cover we have. We've got Ashlyn here. We've got the pervasive ringed moon, the purple sky, and we've got Kaelin here going, okay, I'm screwed. I have to get kicked into this adventure. So
yeah, that cover reminds me of something I would have seen out of the like Warcraft like books, like the comics that I've read for Warcraft.
Yeah, it definitely, like, without getting a kind of a full like story, I guess, like, she doesn't have the giant praying mantis eyebrows.
Yeah.
or what I get if I don't. I hate that, getting old. It's like more hair where you don't want it and less hair where you do. But
I don't have the praying mantis eyebrow problem. I get the like the dwarf's like nose hairs going out into a beard thing.
Well,
yeah.
Chris, get that thing.
I need to shave.
Here is a cover that we did for. This is done by.
Bless with the elven nose.
What's up?
I'll be back.
Blessed is not the right word, baby.
So this is a cover by an artist, Oh Wang-Xing, and it is a kind of a parody of the library where we held the games, and these are their characters playing the game. So we had the nice little, you know, this was my character essentially, the library bookshelves, and quite the colorful cast of characters. Got this weird Wayson character, this chick with a knife threateningly looking at him for some reason.
You know, that could be a good idea. Like in the future, when you go to do like the actual tabletop game, and when you're like putting that out through crowdfunding or something like that, then you could use this as your special edition variant cover for the book to be, if you want to get the book with it.
Yeah. I mean, I originally I had kind of commissioned this out as a kind of a thank you to the beta testers here, because they were unwitting guinea pigs for 8 years. You know, I mean, they went through like, I mean, when you're 13, 14 years old, I mean, the rules were just absolute shit when it started. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But, as the game progressed, we ended up refining things, and in all honesty, I couldn't have done it without them. So this was my thank you to them. Obviously, they're all getting free copies of the comic book too. But, let's see, what else is there? Oh yeah, this one's one of my favorites. This was done by Tita Kiet Sungden. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Tita. Or Pearl Pencil on DeviantArt and elsewhere.
Oh wow, look at that.
This is the post-schism light elves, or the Seelie elves, and their religious figure, the archdruidess. And again, they're matriarchal in societal formation. So it's a direct contrast to the more traditional rules that we see from the races of men. And it's kind of a funny contrast where we will have characters like this is before like modern day social media crap, but like they were just like players having back and forths because the Fae were kind of a separate faction from the Mundane, and the Mundane were like the elves and the the men and the wee folk, whereas the Fae were like the elves and all the weird magical races. And it was quite funny sorry about that, my cat's trying to get on my anyways, it was quite funny watching them bicker back and forth. And one of the things was, it was like, yeah, does your queen keep your balls in a purse? And all these like things back and forth. It's like, wow, these guys are so effete. I thought they were all chicks. Just all sorts of insults back and forth from like little kids. Like one of them, he actually wrote down this long list. It was like a George Carlin roast, and he just and it was all like, fern sniffing, tree smoking, rabbit molesting son of a bitch, like this big long thing. And it was just like, at the end of it, the player that was being roasted was like, I'm not even mad, like that was impressive.
It's like the Scotsman in Samurai Jack. They're going off on him.
We call it poetry.
Yeah, you have managed to find quite the talents for your book here. The art is quite good, quite exquisite.
Here's thanks. Here's one of the kind of precursor covers to the combat rules book section, and here we have a dwarf. What's it? The Last Stand, facing down a bunch of dark elves, about to meet his demise. You can see there's already dead here.
It's elves. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh, I don't see a much of it. That's not fair. There's only 100 of them and one of me. No. But yeah, he'll have like one of those cool Rorschach moments. Yeah, it was the other thing about the elves, because they're elemental. When the schism took place, the elves kind of acclimated to various kind of environments or terrains. Whereas the light elves, they fled to their shrouded isles. The wild elves took to the hills. The Aishi took to the mountains and to the forests. But the Unseelie, the dark elves, they actually became kind of elemental with or acclimated with the snow and the frosts. And one of their nicknames was the frost elves, or the cold elves, because because they were once just the Elvar people, and they've split, the facets of their cold and calculative traits, their rigid social systems, and their intrigue and manipulation all kind of went into this one fused facet. And that's why they're kind of, some would say they're evil. Personally, the players that I've seen that play them understood that they're not evil. There is no, in the races, there really is no like true black and white. Everything kind of has, vagaries and shades of gray. Like the evil races, I mean, there is an evil force, but it's something that transcends all of this. And that, in the comic book, you start to see more of that, where, these two factions are kind of fighting each other. And it's, this third faction is just sitting in the background going, excellent, dance my puppets. So yeah, let's see, what else do I have? Oh, these were a couple of the early class cards, because the game system that we're developing was kind of a hybrid between cards and tabletop. We have the class cards, the skill and ability cards, the inventory cards, equipment and stuff like that. And so just a couple of the, obviously there's some certain race specific classes, like you're not, like the elves are druids, and there's a reason for that, because they're not just nature, like they're not just hippies. There's actually like they actually have a deity that they've kind of pledged themselves to, where it's not a deity that the races of men or we folk would kind of take too kindly to. So yeah, just a couple of the classes, and as you can see here, the Magus, he seems to be a little more scholastic than your typical like Dungeons and Dragons, wizard, where he's like, a young boy with a magic wand and a staff or whatever. Whereas the order, as it's called, is very rigid. It's very strict in the magic that it can teach and the magic that its practitioners can use. And the reasoning for that is because some things happen if you don't regulate magic, and it's in the story, and bad stuff happens when people don't play by the rules, essentially. So there's a lot of kind of responses to kind of treating magic like as a responsibility rather than, hey, we got this really cool like +3 toothbrush of cleaning, or whatever, how Dungeons and Dragons have all that. Like they've got this huge like they treat their magic like a technology rather than something to be like an esoteric art that's something to be afraid of. And part of the magic system is you could actually mess yourself up really badly if you botch a spell. When you're casting spells, you have these catalysts, the cantrips and the elements, and you have hand gestures and all this stuff, and you're playing them out on your cards. And if you mess it up, or if you fail your intelligence check, you can actually be forced to make a roll on the botch table. And botches are very, very bad. We had one character encounter something called the Magi's Twilight, where he lost all of his body's ability to regenerate mana. He basically threw it out of his own body. He pulled his own soul essentially out of his body by trying to cast this super, super expensive spell, and it ended up messing him up, and he later became a non-spellcasting class. And his character actually became pretty badass, but it was kind of scary, actually, because like the way that the players were treating magic initially, it was like Dungeons and Dragons, where it's, I want to cast Fireball. Don't tell me how big the room is. I just want to cast Fireball. But now it's like, oh shit, like I need guys, gather around me. Like I got to do this. If somebody starts hitting me or whatever, I could fuck this up and kill everyone. Oh, sorry, I just dropped the neck bomb. Yeah, like that was an actual thing. Like we had the term Mage Shield, where it was like, okay, I got to get between him and whatever's trying to kill us, because he's our paper tiger or our glass cannon or something. And that's I wanted to evoke that fear that magic should induce in players, rather than this magical, rather than this technology of like, hey, I have this phone of +5 communication, or something to that effect. Also, I guess
Soul says he's going to imagine all dwarfs with a Scottish accent from now on.
I always did.
Soul liked the image of them playing the tabletop. He says it's a cozy image. He likes it.
Well, cool. Yeah, where is it? This one. Sweet. Yeah, these are all the players.
We have Woodrow with us. He says, hail Chad. Hail Woodrow.
What's up?
Woodrow, you might be interested in this project, sir. Especially if he can get more eyes on it and it starts to take off, because then he's going to do a tabletop.
Yeah.
What's the tiers looking like on this? Like, what's the options?
So should I bring it up, or?
Well, I can bring it up if you want here.
All right, cool. So we have the initial tier here, which is just the standard edition, 50 full color pages, standard book, with the cover designed by the interior artists. Yeah, pretty much your no frills. Do I want to take a chance? Yes or no? And then the next tier is the Michelle Hefner. And I really apologize, Michelle, if I'm mispronouncing your last name. I've never said it aloud. So this is Michelle's variant cover. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a little bit more expensive, but I mean, you're getting an amazing pick for it. And then the next one is Genzo Man's variant cover. Again, just like with Michelle, it's the same book. You get all the 50 full color pages, but the cover is slightly different with the Genzo Man art, or the variant. And then I think the final one is just an epic bundle,
like a retailer bundle here, kind of thing.
Yeah. Or if you want to get a few of your mates together and just buy go get them cheaper or whatever. But there's a limited amount. And then if you scroll down a little bit more below the comic book pictures, there's actually a couple of add-on perks. So in addition to the books, you can get either that poster, which if you can see here in my screen, it's a pretty decent size, and it's two-sided. So you get both variants. I mean, we don't want you to choose if you're getting an add-on perk like that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I framed two of them because I really like the way those came out. And then underneath that, there's another little video. If you don't mind playing, this video is of the trading cards, which is another add-on perk.
Okay. Full screen so people can see it.
Infinitale Chronicles, the War of the Trees.
So yeah, there are these special cards here.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, this is a awesome campaign. You've definitely put a lot of work into it, and a lot of time and probably money. Certainly into it. It certainly looks very good. And I do believe that a lot of people would be interested in this, as long as you can get eyes on it. I think that's the biggest hurdle.
Yeah,
it's going to be letting everybody know it exists.
I'm hoping.
What was the goal to reach the funds there?
It is quite high.
Yeah,
is it high?
Yeah,
very
high. Yeah, it's 12,000.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah,
but
I get you on some shows, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Right now we're at 8, so 2% of that. It's the reason why I put it to flexible goal is so that the people who did invest will still get the book and whatever they purchase. So you're not going to kind of piss into the well waiting for the splash. Oh man,
I do have a question.
Sure.
If it was like a flexible goal and you weren't like super concerned about the funds, why not do like a lowered goal so you could reach it easier and then go in, and then that way you could go into in demand and everything. Because a lot of people make like double what they made, during the time period in demand.
Yeah, because you can just leave it in demand.
Yeah, for as long as you want,
and even after you're done fulfilling.
Yeah.
I think the flex goal has like if I think it's like 2 weeks or whatever. If people stop, if nobody buys after 2 weeks, and the goal just shuts down. But so I just put in what it kind of cost me, so what I would be making back, and honestly, I'm using this as again more of a gauge of interest rather than like trying to fund this, because it's already funded. It's already it's already made. In fact. It's waiting at the printers for the quantities to be fired off, so we can get it to people as quickly as possible. And And also,
So there won't be a big wait time for this then for folks.
no. I mean, we actually held off. Like, this was multiple years in the making. I originally approached Zen back in, I think, 2017, 2018. And we wanted to make this we wanted to make this right. We wanted to get it out the door and have a good first impression so that people are like, holy crap, this is good, versus, oh, look, another, we don't know, like, it's an unproven, that's the biggest hurdle, is that it's an unproven property. It's nobody's seen this. And what we're asking
I think with one thing I've learned anyways, doing this, it's not so much of it being, if it's not proven or not, you do have to give your viewers enough time. Your first issue is kind of a trust thing too. Make sure that you deliver your first product on time and what the product's well. So I wouldn't worry too much about the if people want it, as much as you're just kind of gaining that audience at this point. That's my only concern with it. Probably it's not that I think it looks amazing. I'm worried that hopefully you hit the 12 grand, and if you don't, I hope you don't get discouraged if you don't, because it's not going to be, oh, I didn't hit 12 grand, so people don't like it. You got to find the audience and hit those channels.
And one thing you need to know why they mentioned the flexible goal, because it's one of the things that makes people weary about backing a project if it's not close to being funded, because it actually means that you get the money no matter what, even if you can't make the book. So the fact that you have to tell people on live stream that they will get it, it's a problem for some people. Like at least 50% of the people will go flexible. It's like giving money away. I'm not sure I'm going to get something. Yeah, so that's why we always recommend, like, just go with a fixed goal, and you can ask for $1,200, $500 if you want.
Yeah, well, like I said,
I think you're a trustworthy guy, but what I'm saying, you got to convince, how many backers probably to get to 12.
So open up with the fact that the books are ready to go.
I did put a section in there for like risks and challenges, and one of the risks was none. Book's already done. It's ready to go. So maybe if I lead that, put that at the top, and put that in big red, marquee letters that say, I mean, I'm not putting my name out there. Like, it's literally my name. Like, I'm not hiding behind a company. There isn't any anonymity here. I'm putting my name there. And the reason for that is because, I respect customers. Like, I'm a diehard capitalist. And I know that there's a responsibility to, to the people that are in good faith, giving me, financially supporting me, essentially. And it's, and again, that's
we always pay the price for people that did wrong, right?
Yep.
And if you know anything about crowdfunding, especially a Kickstarter, there's more there, but it also happens on Indiegogo and others. People don't fulfill.
Yeah, that's a
take the money problem. And run.
Yeah.
And there was big names that did that too. Like, I'm not going to mention some preacher person.
I'm the scammers have just ruined it for everyone. And the thing that really bothered me, though, like when I got into the gaming industry, was a lot of the creators had this disdain for their customers. And it's like this whole too cool.
They look down at them.
Well, yeah, they're too cool for their own product, and like it reflects in the product. Like, they don't take their shit seriously. They have a lot of like winking at the camera, and like they're just a lot of, and it's like I'm a consumer too. Like, if you look at, I don't know if you can trace who I've backed, but like I've backed a lot of people on Indiegogo. Like I like last, was it Friday there? I was like, look at those freaking figurines. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm still a big kid. I mean, I'm looking at it as a consumer. Obviously, I'm still kind of a noob when it comes to that, setting up my own thing.
Like I said, I
think it's a bit of a problem when it comes to. Go ahead.
I wouldn't get discouraged though. Like I say, if you don't meet the 12 grand, I mean, you've been working on this for how long? You said. I mean, you're telling us stories about creating this thing when you were like a wee little man So I wouldn't get, I wouldn't be like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't make 12 grand of this child dream, so just throw it away. Because obviously, you put a lot of work into it. So
Yeah,
I'd say if for some reason it doesn't come through, I would maybe reevaluate of how I run the campaign. That's only if it doesn't. That's just
Yeah.
it could. I mean,
yeah,
'cause it's so early on. What we got?
my kind of
49
concern
days?
is shared there with Shane, where you keep saying you're wanting to gauge the audience's interest, and with this crowdfunding thing, there's so much emphasis that's put into like marketing, getting on like shows, doing this stuff because people just won't see it. Like Indiegogo isn't going to like
That's
really
the point.
heavily promote you, and
People don't
I don't
down.
want, like Shane said, I don't want you to be discouraged because like maybe your first campaign doesn't make I don't know, Irene level numbers like 20, like I don't know, 15, 20K or something like that.
One can only hope. Or what was that?
Right.
Inglorious Rex there? It was like 4
Yeah.
hours. Like,
like 6 figures and stuff. Yeah, going like Ethan making $1 million or something.
Yeah. I honestly, I'm a noob when it comes to evangelizing this stuff. Like, I'm super grateful that you reached out to me and said, "Hey, yeah, you want to come on the show?"
Well, I mean, it's a great looking book, sir. I mean, I think a lot of people would see this and go, "Yeah, I'm interested." Especially, you're like I mean, obviously you do tabletop. Your plans in this for the future, so I think people who are into like tabletop would be into this. If nothing else, they'd be like, yeah, I might be interested in his tabletop in the future, and this will be like a nice collectible. I got in on it on the ground floor before it became an official thing and blew up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, one can hope.
So
yeah,
I think the biggest hurdle is just going to be heavy, getting on those shows, getting in front of people's, peepers, and letting them know this thing exists.
Yeah.
Is there any way to with your artist that you've used, if there's any way to get, I don't know how much this is hand drawn or it's digital, but if you can get some of the original art pieces, kind of throw that on as an add-on perk, just stuff that way you can get like anybody who's really interested. There's $300 towards your campaign if somebody just picks it up off of one backer, just those things that kind of get you a little bit bumped up a little bit more each time. That way you're not thinking, such small amounts at a time. If you can get some of those, like, because that Michelle cover, that cover's awesome. So I can see somebody really liking like the original art to that if they can get a hold of it.
Oh yeah,
just stuff like that.
Yeah, well, or getting one of these.
Yeah,
Also,
exactly.
If you could get original artwork and put that up on the campaign, I think that would help.
Mm-hmm.
And you said this was already done, right?
Yep. All of this.
Okay. So you can't do the drawn in tiers then.
Well, one thing to show about the cards here. I don't know if you can see this,
let me bring you up on there.
So we have this. The one of the add-on perks is these cards, and you got the standard cover card or whatever. I don't know. The glare is, that ring light is killing me. But basically, what's in these cards? You get the standard 8 cards. Where one of the things that always kind of threw me off in fantasy, that it's just blown out. But one of the things that always threw me off in fantasy stuff was you get these like impronounceable names or these like characters that you're supposed to juggle and you can't remember anything about them. Well, this has a nice, handy little pronunciation guide. It has their faction, who they belong to, a little blurb about them, and it's numbered. And I go through pretty much all of the characters, or I should say the main characters of the story. These are all on plastic cards too. It's not paper stock. It's actually like playing card plastic. And if you wanted to collect the prints for the covers, we also give out the covers. There's Michelle's, and then Ganzoman's as well. But there's something else I want to call attention. There's also a bonus 9th card, and if you notice, it doesn't look like it belongs to the same family of cards, and that's because it's from the game. And it's like, well, it's like, what is it? What is it? It's a skill, and on the back of it, again, you can't really see. It's the language of Slithrith, which is the one of the languages that the characters encounter. And throughout the book, there is I don't know if you can see. There's a cipher here to translate everything.
Oh no, we got another language person like Irene.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I when I worked on one of the games I worked on, Defiance. We had a philologist come in, the guy who designed the Dothraki language, and it was fun as hell using his fonts that he created for the alien languages, because it was like, wow, there's an actual thought behind this. There's actually syntax. It's not just, like, I'm going to make it so it sounds cool. So one of the kind of bonuses about these cards is that by taking this, getting this bonus 9th card within the comic book, where there are things written in the background or characters that are speaking foreign to the to the heroes, you'd be like, what the hell are they saying? It's just all, it's all gibberish. But you can take out the card, decipher it, and actually understand what they're saying, or what, certain inscriptions or whatever.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty cool idea, because I know, like, with Magic the Gathering, they have what do they call it, the language? I can't remember what they call the language, but it's Phyrexian. Yeah, Phyrexian. The Phyrexian language, and sometimes they'll put it on like a land or something like that instead of just English or whatever. They'll put Phyrexian, and those things are like, people grab them and they go for much higher price because it's such in demand. So yeah, I like that idea of putting something in like the language in universe language.
But I figured this would also be a nice tip to the kind of the prelude to the game. It's like, oh, what the hell's this? Like, the logo even looks different. What's going on here? And then it's, I can understand the Slitherith language, and it's written all out there.
Piece.
Yeah. And in fact, that was one of the funner things. Was one of the players, he was, this Magus player. A lot of the magic system, we, because we have this kind of compositional way that magic is cast. It's not just, I cast Fireball, and you throw down the card and Fireball comes out. It's, you actually have to build the spell. And I studied Latin. That's where my dumb, unpronounceable screen handle in your comment section, Resurgam, came from. Resurgam meaning I shall rise again. I ended up using Latin when I was building the basis for some of the spells for the magic system, where we actually had players unwittingly speaking Latin while they were constructing spells. And players could discern what other characters or what other spellcasters were casting when they would hear the composition being spoken aloud, because magic is initially both a gesture and a vocal spells, but you can actually invest in traits to make it just gesture-based or just verbal-based, depending on how you want to build your character. But it was funny listening to conversations where, a player would be saying something like, creo ignis ex corpus jaculo penticulum. And they'd have a card that would literally say creo, and it was, I create. And this cantrip is used to conjure or create an element. And then ignis, meaning fire, I create fire, and then X of, and then corpus from the body. So, and then joculo to throw or to target, add, and then whatever the name of the target is. And, you'd have these little things that you'd all line up, and you'd have players sitting there putting them together going, I wonder if I could do this and do that, and start mixing around the compositions. And you can do so in a laboratory environment where you can safely mess up a spell and botch it and not kill yourself. But when they're out on the field, you have players going, don't be brave, just cast the damn thing as it's supposed to be.
Let me go through the chat.
Is there a danger that some of those spells get away from that lab and infect everybody in the realm?
Well, there was there was an event in the game that did kind of cause problems.
We created a giant fire golem. Sorry. I for one love our new fire breathing overlords. Yeah. You mean God?
Yeah, exactly. Don't look at him. Level the city.
Should I be doing some fan art of a Chris elf in a red kilt? No. No, you shouldn't.
Yes, you should.
Yeah.
Chris elf in a red skirt riding moose.
Yeah.
No, no, we already.
I really
no.
like. I really like the idea of the kilt more than the skirt, to be honest. But yeah,
No, we already had Red Riding Chris from Katie. We don't need any more.
dude, it's not the same. We're talking about you in a kilt. There's nothing.
A
It's
kilt,
not a dress.
though. It's not a
It's a
dress.
kilt.
Not a dress.
It's not a dress.
Well,
I don't trust Pale Rider drawing me in anything. Yeah.
and I remember seeing Hafthor Bjornsson, you know, the mountain from Game of Thrones.
So when you do pal, don't forget to put the dreads coming out of the kilt.
Ew. Somebody needs to do a little hedge trimming.
I have long nose hairs, Sam.
Exactly.
Nose
I'm
hairs.
guessing you would even it out, right?
Well, the carpet matched the drapes.
Oh, jeez, Sam. Woodruff says he loves the tabletop comic book combos. Yeah, like yes. Other Chris here is hoping to this book is going to be to gauge interest, and he's hoping to in the future do a tabletop. So
Yeah, I want people to care about the world before they go into it.
mhm.
You know, so what's this generic whatever? It's I know this place. I've read about this or I've seen this.
Mhm. We got Corey Ransom Art, a new fellow. He says, "Hello, folks. Hello, sir."
Hello, my friend.
And yeah, so I'm going French Canadian with their kilt. Stop it! It's not a dress, eh? And I'm like, nine.
Soul's saying to the other Chris here, he says, Kingpin. He says the price of the perks also makes it difficult to reach the goal. I get keeping it simple and without extras on the first time, but more people will buy the single books.
Yeah, you don't want people to be hesitant when they come to your campaign. Anything that will make them like hesitate to back, you have to, kind of steer away from.
Yeah, that's another thing too. People might see that big goal and they'll say, "Oh, well, he's not going to reach that,"
Yeah,
and then they won't back.
Exactly. Well, if
They'll
you,
just
if
go,
you
"I'm
had
not going to waste my
5,000,
time."
you might have more chances of getting to your 12K.
Yeah, right. It's all like you got to factor in human psychology in a way when you're doing this.
In business, it's all about perception.
Yep. Yeah, marketing. Never give anybody an excuse.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's my first foray.
Yeah,
I've never
but
done.
That's why we're taking the time to explain everything that give you what we've learned.
Yeah. I've looked at kind of competition, I guess, or other people's books when I was pricing out kind of the perks. Like, I mean, part of me wishes that if in hindsight I would have gone back and done like what Rini did, which was, Rini had a black and white book first. And black and white printing is so much cheaper.
Yeah, it would have saved you a lot of money on
That's
cost.
what I did with Blood Hunt. Like that's what I was gonna tell you. Like when I first launched Blood Hunt, I was doing the black and white and a colored edition. Right? I had both of them. I was asking for 5K. Nobody knew who the fuck I was. Right? And I almost made it, but we didn't, right? But I already had a second chance campaign plan and I was listening to people around. And that's when I came back with only the black and white edition for 3K. Because I knew I could do it, right? But that's how I made it. I got funded in 2 weeks instead of 2 months without making it, right? I got funded in 2 weeks. I closed at 8K US, right?
Nice.
And I sold an extra 6,000 copies or something like that. I ended up at 12,500 US in demand just because people were seeing the book getting completed, the this, the that. And if you look at the Magic Cop, the same thing, the first campaign of Magic Cop and most of their campaigns too, like the Lost Pages and stuff like that, every time they sell, they fulfill, they almost double their sell after fulfillment. This is why, because
you see a nice boost.
This is why I'm planning to do I close my campaign when I go to print and fulfill because I'm international, so there's extra fees, right?
Yeah. Oh man, Canada.
Yeah, exactly. So you end up giving some books away, but I ended up I closed it, and I thought to myself, I'll do a second chance campaign, and that one I could ask for $500, and the book is ready. So I can actually deal with the two different demographic of crowdfunding. Because there's
Nice.
people that are coming in and going, I want to be in from the get go. I want to get a chance to be in the book. I don't mind waiting. And then you have some people that are like, I'm waiting till the book's ready.
Yeah.
They're waiting for the last minute, and oh, people are getting it. I want it.
Well, not to mention
Well,
too is once you go into demand, you also will start getting books in hands, and then you get reviews.
Mhm.
People posted that they like the book.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that triggers people to
Yeah.
okay, it's here,
Right.
it's happening. This is
Yeah.
what it looks like.
He's
So it's
actually
great.
he's actually delivering.
More sales come in.
People are getting it. I
Yeah.
feel safe enough to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why as soon as my books are all mailed, I'm launching the campaign. Boom, the second chance campaign. Boom.
And also plus when people are actually getting it, they're like, oh, okay, it's now delivering. I don't have to, back it and then wait. I can just back it now and immediately kind of get it. I'll do it now.
Yeah, instant gratification. It's
Yeah. People
Well,
don't like to wait.
it's like the opposite of video game releasing. Like,
But it's
it
also
sounds-
see it that way. Anything that's crowdfunding, if you read all the rules of crowdfunding, it tells everybody this is not a store. You are giving you are pledging money. You are not guaranteed to get nothing. It's technically, like I say, you're asking people to lend money to their best friend, meaning you don't know if it's going to come back ever. You have to you kind of you helped out hoping it comes back. So people come in already with a risk of not getting nothing. So if you give them other worries, or it's not helpful.
Well, I know when I was trying to promote this, one of the avenues that I approached was reaching out to comic book shops, like in the area. And here's the weird irony of the whole thing. I went on Facebook, and apparently they block you. Facebook blocks you for spam if you copy and paste the same message to send message. So I'd have to wait a few days or whatever and spam these out. And I ended up getting out across the entire New England area where I live in New Hampshire. And I got them all out, and not a single one replied back. It was just like pissing into the well, not even hearing a splash. And out of the blue, one of the comic shops gets back to me from my hometown. And it was, hey, Chris, how's it going? It's me. And it was one of the players who played this game. He's like, yeah, sure. I'd love to promote your stuff. What do you want me to do? And it was like, I'll send you over one of these posters. If you could just hang it in your shop or whatever, generate interest or whatever. He's like, yeah, sure. No problem, man. I want to see this. And it was just like it was the strangest, coincidence where it was like, I'm just kind of firing this off. Because one thing I'm having trouble with is, because I'm a nobody, I'm not Ethan Van Sciver. Nobody knows, like Chris Fisk. The first thing people think is Marvel supervillain, or or who the hell is that? His name sounds like Swiss Miss or something. But nobody really, when you can't penetrate that barrier if you're a nobody. You have to have some type of pedigree first. And I think
that's what we was getting at with you. Is that's why I don't want you to get discouraged if it doesn't make the 12, and then we just don't want you to see you just stop doing it. If you have to do a second time, then you got to do a second time. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. If you need more time to get your name out there, because like I said, when you start trying to compare your campaigns to a Malin or an Eves, you got to remember they've got such a big fan base. I mean, I love my frog book, but let's face it, if Eves puts out a book about, I don't know, dogs that become mutant, I don't know, space pirates, people's going to back it. They don't care what it's the fact that it's Ethan Van Sciver. They love his channel. They're going to back it.
Yeah.
So you got to look at it that way. Yeah. Sometimes your name, when you start off, you definitely can't have the mindset of the big guys. That's I mean, look, Shane Davis has a cat book. It's not my thing.
So you're happy what you get,
but yeah. When you get that big name, you got an audience that follow them from their career as well. You know what I'm saying? They've had all that history, so they're like, oh, Shane Davis popped in. Of course, we're going back whatever he comes up with. I actually did back Dan Fraga's book, but he's from the industry. He had people that know his past, so his campaigns are going to start off hitting good numbers. The new guys like us, we got to work on building that audience and that trust.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got to crack
most
that wall.
most people should never. Most people are not going to be one of those guys who just puts out a campaign and makes like 25-30K, or something like that in their first. No, it's a slow growing thing. You gain a little bit more every campaign.
Yep. Well, that's why
so
I
it is good to listen to those guys, but you just got to remember, when you're the new guy, you're definitely the new guy.
Yeah, I'm definitely the first year student.
But I do think this project is great as the art looks and everything, and I mean, come on, everybody, especially nowadays, so many people love D&D, so they're gonna love this kind of high fantasy look and everything. So yeah, there's certainly a market for this project. It's just marketing. You just gotta get it out there.
The good news is there's no agenda. I'm not preaching to anybody. It's like the other thing I wanted to make a point about was this was a story written by a teenager, not by a jaded 40-something. Like as we get older, we get more cynical.
Yeah.
And I wanted to stay away from that. I wanted to go distill it back to what what kids. I don't want to say what kids like. Hello, fellow young people. But like like what attracted me when I was young and I liked this stuff. Like when I saw the Pirates of Darkwater. Or when I saw Ghost in the Shell for the first time. Those things. Like I want to recapture that. I want modern audiences to be like, oh yeah, or I've never seen this before, or holy crap, this is not like there's no like I'm not Starfire, or no, there's no political messaging in there. Like it is what it is. You can take whatever you want from it. Like I'm not here as a writer to tell you how you should.
I don't know. You're calling women men. I don't know.
Are you assuming their gender?
Now, Sim, do you know this Pirates of Darkwater show?
The what?
Did you know about this Pirates of Darkwater show?
Nope.
Oh, one that
Sim's too
Sim
old
don't
for that.
know.
That was more. That was more of a. I think that was early '90s.
Yep.
It wasn't '80s, right? It was '90s. So I was probably. Oh man, I don't even know.
All right.
I was a wee little lad. Sim's like the oldest guy.
I've been neglecting the chat.
It was a Saturday morning cartoon thing.
Yeah, I did see that stuff.
Soul says making Blood Hunt money on the first attempt is not impossible, but requires some effort.
Yeah. I
remember
remember
dig on Blood.
I remember the first time I saw EVS's indie. Was it? I don't think it was it on Indiegogo? It might have been on Kickstarter because I play on both sides of that fence. But I remember seeing it. I was just like, "Holy shit! This is better than the stuff I see on the bookshelves." And I didn't know, I didn't know who Ethan Van Sciver was at the time. Honestly, I mean, I was a noob. I liked comics, but I never checked out the artists or whatever. And I was like, "This is cool shit." And I ended up getting it. And then it was like years later, he had the YouTube channel that I saw, and I was like, "Wow, this guy's like." Got 0 F's to give, and I'm liking what he's saying. His little cartoon about the I want to be the Ahab. I was like, spot on. Like I've been told, you're a white male that should shut up and blah blah. And I'm like, what does that have to do with whether or not I can make a comic? Like, just can't you just enjoy? Like, make your own shit. Like nobody's telling you can't.
Yeah.
Yep.
Soul says, I'd make the cards more visible on the campaign. If possible, add a perk where they're already included and on the thumbnail.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
I can do that.
Like, it's easy for untalented white people to tell talented white people that they're too talented. It's easy. It's easy to be envious of others and hate others when you don't do shit.
Pale Rider is saying you could do a custom sketch card of backers with the backers' stats on the back. That's pretty good idea, Pale.
So like Pale Rider, strength 18, dexterity.
Yeah, I mean something like that. Yeah, that could, and you could put it up as like a special perk or something.
Yeah, I mean I like that about Indiegogo is even though like once you launch the campaign, there's certain things you can't do. There are still things you can kind of modify. Like when I was speaking with Zen about the initial kind of layout I did on the page, is like, no, you got to blow up those images. People want to see what they're buying. So I put in full pages of the comic instead of just thumbnails.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea, Pale Rider. I think that was something. I think Jason did that for Unhinged. I think it was his stuff. Yeah, I think Jason Bascom did something like that because I think he did one for Frog G. But that could work. I mean, I don't know how your artists are about doing sketch cards or something like that, but you could maybe put so many a tier for so many and price it up pretty, a decent amount. I don't know how much would you put that for, Sim? What do you think?
How should I know?
Wow, Sim, you're no help.
Dang.
Right. How would you charge for something like that? I'm like, I don't know, dude. You put that part of a big IN tier with everything. Like
Yeah,
a
you could do
members,
that,
like
yeah.
like a members thing, like a special VIP thing, and you get your own card.
Yeah, a backer.
And you know
with
what
the
you could do?
backers
You could print sketch cards with a fill-in stat in the back. So it's empty stats, and you just have to go in and draw them with a marker, like the line.
Hmm.
Yeah. Or strategically make sure the printers lines up perfectly.
Because I think Jason did his as like a drawn-in tiered level of pay, like he put that about around like a drawn-in tier cost. But yeah, that's a good idea, Power Rider. Let's see. Matchlock horses and Russian sniper bears. Whatever you did back with Christy doing it. So,
What?
we're not making Matchlock horses and Russian sniper bears.
Wow.
You know that Pale Rider just wants a red dress Chris sketch card. Never mind. That's a terrible idea. We never need to do that. Don't put that on your campaign ever.
So this, what is it? This card right here. I just gotta swap out the face and make it so that it's.
You should have that red dress card. It'd probably become the Lotus of your collection.
You got the super rare Sugar Chris card in the sequence dress. I got the Jessica Rabbit variant.
It'll be super
I got
rare
the,
because I'll be
I got the
burning
Sugar
them.
Rush one.
I'll burn all of them. That's how it'll become super rare.
Yeah, this went from hey, let's back this project to I'm going to kill this guy.
Let's burn it.
I like to burn stuff.
Oh,
Well, that's how you
yeah,
make your 12 grand. You just make a big old sketch of Chris in a dress variant card, and the only person who's going to buy it's Chris, so it gets burnt.
Yeah, it says backers 9 goal net. Oh man, that would definitely. Yeah.
Was the artwork for this book, was that all digital?
I believe so. I have all the images in digital format. So
okay. I was just wondering because of original artwork, you could put that on the campaign and try and sell it. I'm just trying to think of other things
Or
you
at
could
least
do to help with.
If he can get a hold of the artist and if the artist can just do a couple of sketch cards, it doesn't have to be a lot, but if she can get a couple of them from her, like if she can do some, or whoever.
Yeah, sketch cards are always a good idea.
Yeah,
those tend to sell pretty well. Let's see. Stress has +2 to charisma. Oh god. Let's see. Soul says Mavericks got me to back 2 mission perks because I wanted the red dress Chris print and then that versus beach volleyball print. Those bastards. Yeah, that is true. Mavericks. Yeah, the Global Frequency crew. They did a thing for like every time they went on a show, they had like a special tier or something where they'd have like a print you could get that was related to the show. So yeah, they ended up doing a red dress Chris print.
Nice.
Those bastards. That's right.
Shut up, you loved it.
But this is like I said, this is a great looking project. I do think we if we can get you on some more shows, I think that'll help with the sales a lot.
Yeah,
Like like getting on like Irene's channel would probably be a good idea. She
well,
has some TTRPG people that watch her, and maybe Raging Gold. I don't know. Would probably Raging Golden Eagle would probably be a good idea.
Yep.
I feel bad because I was like
Shay's channel.
harassing her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She'll dress up
Like,
with her character.
Oh yeah, she'll cosplay as one of your characters.
Sweet.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's and that so they would probably help. Bancroft would be a good one. Mandy Summers if you can get on there. There's just so many. There's so many. There's a lot of YouTube channels that you can get on.
I would be happy to go on as many as will have me. In fact, I super appreciate again you reaching out, being like, "Hey, want to pop on?"
Well, don't be afraid to reach out to them.
well, that's the thing is,
Oh, yeah.
like I have reached out to a lot of people, but again, I'm a nobody. They're like,
Yeah. Yeah, they probably have like their DMs are probably flooded, and they're probably didn't even they probably haven't even looked in their like message requests thing or anything like that.
I mean, I'm over here going, pick me, and they're just like, eh.
Because that was something that happened to me. I was what was it the other day? I was looking and I was like looking through my DMs. It's like, okay, I got that guy. Oh, there's a guy down here I haven't responded to in a while. He sent me a message about wanting to get on and need to get to him because I had a bunch of people wanting to come on. And then I just happened to like go, there's a message request thing for people who aren't following you. And I clicked on it and it was like ding 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 ding. I was like, oops.
I say, I did see John Malin just did a episode for the mailing list. So I guess he might be back to doing that. So it's another. You definitely want to keep an eye on John Malin's
that would be a good one.
Twitter to see when he's going to post. Because a lot of times you have like a thing for campaigns that's running, or if you have a mailing list up, and you're just as long as you have a mailing list or a campaign going, we can
And your
hop
CG.
into his show. Huh?
And your CG.
Oh, do you have to be
Says
CG for that?
only. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched
Same
that
here.
show, but yeah, I remember. Yeah, he always says you have to be CG to go on there. I forgot.
Then,
about how
okay,
much
But
people-
Apparently-
CG.
Yeah, you gotta say your CG.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like here's the thing is like I've definitely found that there are these like factionalized groups.
Yeah,
And it's like, dude, just enjoy the fucking comics, and
Yeah,
like,
that's how I am.
when it comes to Comicsgate though,
Yeah.
the thing that I found is that they're very like everybody that I've talked to that's in Comicsgate or whatever has been super nice. Like I've never had anybody be like, get the fuck out of here, loser. Like, you know what I mean? But I have on the other side, the other side. Like I've had people be like, and who are you? You're nobody, and it's like, you have to prove yourself or whatever. And it's like, why do I have to prove myself just to get like basic respect? Like I'm not even trying to hawk anything. It's like, and then you get the people telling me that I should shut up because I'm a white male or whatever. And it's like, hello, I'm fucking 2 shades shy of Casper, I mean, I can't help that. But the reason for that though is I got this thing called Hashimoto's, which is like an autoimmune disease, and it basically turned me into the Kingpin. So the name just did not help. But like I was told I'm easy to spot in a crowd because I'm the whitest white guy there.
the whitest guy you'll know.
Yeah, like I could blend into that wall behind me, just like Wednesday Addams.
You know what I think is weird. It's just like they say white guys, whites, but what they actually mean is Western white.
Yeah.
Because anything else is not white to them. It's weird. It's like, huh?
Yeah, I know. What do I have to do to like? Let's see.
What happened to we shall not judge people by the color of their skin or what they have between their legs? Yeah, what happened to that?
Yeah. I mean, I work in the tech field, and I have utmost respect for all of my colleagues, and it never crossed my mind that it was like, oh yeah, the engineer that totally bailed my ass out when I was working in UI design for one of the games that I was on. Like, I never crossed my mind. Wow, she's a girl. I don't think that she should be doing that. It's like, no, she totally saved my ass.
Not just that, it's all those fucking all those little points that they keep going about, wage gap and stuff like that. I've worked in the industry. You've worked in the industry. We all get paid the same unless you're worth more.
Yeah,
meaning your name will sell the game. Other than that, we all get paid the same.
Yep. And the gaming industry does not pay at all.
Nope. And they like to rip you off, especially if they go, "Oh, you want to be the new guy?"
Yeah, it's time to get jumped in.
Yeah, I had experience with Eidos.
Oh,
Square Enix when they started. I was part of those rookie working on Deus Ex.
Oh, really? You worked on? So you worked with like Warren Spector's team.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I was in college. I was finishing college and going to university, and yeah.
Were you in development or like QA or?
Nope. Concept art, character designs.
Oh, wow! So they worked you like a dog.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, man.
And you get no credit, no nothing, and
yeah. See, I was saying that earlier.
And you know what's the worst? Or when they do this, oh no, okay, we're not gonna go through this, and then you come back a year later, it's in production, and all your art is on the wall.
Yep. And they're shameless about it too.
You're like, dude, that's my stuff. And go, yeah, well, you did that for us, so it's ours, and yeah.
That boiled my blood when when I worked in these studios, and they're like, yeah, it's our policy that we don't allow artists to sign their work.
Mm-hmm.
Like are you serious? Like,
dude, I was a big fan of the original Deus Ex. I was all hype working on that one.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, it's cool. Cyber implants. Let's do this shit.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's always one person that gets credit for everything.
Oh yeah. They get the face man out there, like Warren Spector or somebody, and they're like, or a producer. That's the best when they get a producer out there.
Yeah.
And it's like, this guy didn't have anything, or this girl didn't have anything to do with the development whatsoever. Half the time they were just, screwing around in the office watching Hulu, and they're the ones that are getting interviewed. And it's like, you weren't the one that just spent the last week of Sundays or whatever testing some crap to make sure it worked.
Mm-hmm.
I could go on forever about how bitter I am about that industry. But,
yep.
It's
one of the reasons why I didn't want to kiss. I didn't want to stay in that field.
Yeah, I don't blame anybody. I mean, I bailed. And it's really sad because there's two polarized groups. There's the people that you just want to kick down an elevator shaft, and then there's the people that were in the trenches with you, and you've got like a lot of admiration, like the artists here that have helped me with my work. Like, these are amazing people. Like, I wouldn't have found them if I was just if I didn't go through what I did with the war that we call game development. And I don't think a lot of people like realize that. Like, as a consumer, you're just like, whatever, it's a game. They released a shit game and nobody played it. Got a 60 on the whatever it is, the Metacritic score. In fact, I remember sitting in a conference room while Angry Joe was ripping into our game, and all of the non-senior level, none of the non-leads, were all agreeing with him. Like, yep, that's exactly what we said. He was brutal too, and I loved him for it. He just tore into it. It was like, this is what we've been saying. Like, just like, there are people that I didn't get along with in the industry, but I respected what they could do, and you have to do that as a in a professional environment. You're not part of being an adult is getting along with people, or producing something that you don't
always like the people that are on your team or on the production thing, but they are valuable for what they do, what they bring.
Yeah, and some of these people are amazing. Like coming in on Sundays and Saturdays, and like we had a 9-month crunch once for one of the games because the television show had to meet at a certain deadline, and they needed to have the game coincide with the television series. And it was just like, who decided this? Who gave, we're not ready, and you're telling us we all have to be ready. So people that you don't like or you don't get along with, you see them doing this really nasty shit alongside you, and you're like, I got a lot of respect for this person. They're eating just as much shit as we are. So
Pale Rider is saying, why is this white dude talking, Chris? Tell him to hush.
Wait. If Pale Rider is calling me white,
Yeah, don't let Pale Rider fool you. He is also a white man
I'm like that one
that
stage
drives
before
around in a
Bob
baby
Dresser.
doll, Barbie Jeep.
A Barbie G.
Yep. He gets drunk, drives around in a Barbie Jeep.
So,
Soul's
Well then.
giving a shout out to Tampa. Yes, everyone who's listening should go. And if you have a Twitter, go follow Tampa because he promotes so many books and he's like the top promoter out there on the Twitter.
All right.
Let's see. Soul's saying the lighting on my cam makes me look very white.
Soul also says, Sim, make a cyberpunk comic. Call it Dieu de la Machine, which is, God of Machines, do sex,
Mhm.
or something, and include a reference that mocks them.
Oh, I'm sure you have your share of war stories too. Hey, that's me.
Yeah, I've worked in the movie industry too.
Oh man, I'm sorry. You got hit twice.
Uh-huh.
Oh. But
That's-
did they have you travel a lot or
No, stole shit.
what?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's not good.
Yeah.
And there's like no recourse. You can't be like, hey,
But you know what I think is weird? It's those big millionaires, like movie maker.
Mhm.
They'll come to you and asking you to do stuff sometimes for exposure. You're like,
Yeah,
you're a fucking
exposure.
millionaire.
Yeah, I miss me with that whole exposure shit. Every one of my artists gets paid. Like that, it's unfair to ask somebody to work for you and not get like reimbursed in some way. Like that infuriates me. Oh yeah, you want to get exposure? Like every game design test, because I was a game designer, every
Mhm.
game design test that I've ever taken for these fucking companies, it's like, yeah, thanks for the free idea. Like go build me a level in Valve Source. Okay. Oh yeah, you're not good enough to be hired, and then like a year later, you see your level in their game.
But we'll take
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
exposure.
No, he meant other Chris is looking very whiter than
Yeah.
Shuka.
Right.
Oh.
The weird
Whiter than
experience was
sugar.
like you go do some work for them. It's kind of like testing. Then they tell you like you need to learn because I was all traditional back then.
Mhm.
I didn't work digitally. So they go, you need to learn to use Photoshop and do this and do that, and after that you have a job. So that didn't happen, and that's when I went back at the end of the course, and you visit the school, and then the production's there, and you're like, why is my art everywhere?
Yeah, yeah. That's the nail all the windows and doors shut and set the building on fire.
Mm-hmm.
That's infuriating.
Oh.
I'm sorry, man. That's
Yeah, it happens to a lot of people.
Sim, Canadian porn is not the movie
man.
industry.
hey, but it is listed on IMDb.
Actually,
Oh.
I've worked on a movie that won award. I worked on a web series that won award called Heroes of the North. I've worked
Wow.
on a movie that called Midnight Wind that won awards throughout the festivals.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Like those were mostly independent and smaller creators. The bad stories is always with the big companies.
Yeah, they're designed by committee. It goes through the party.
Yep.
Did you ever see that episode of South Park where they show how all the Marvel characters were like churned through the CCP? Like, they're all
Nope.
standing in a room, and Xi Jinping's there, and he's all like, with his military guys, and they're like, okay, we got to get rid of this, we got to change this, we got to do that, and it's like, why bother? Like, if you're compromising that much of your product, at the end of the day, you're not really making your product anymore.
But it's not just. I realize that you're gonna bust your ass creating IPs, design, and stuff like that, and a lot of people are gonna get rich off of it, and you don't get shit. Look at Marvel. Look
Yep.
at all those goddamn artists. It's like, how come an IP that makes millions, okay, that's everywhere, the creator is not a millionaire? Why?
Yeah.
That makes no fucking sense.
Yep. And I think that's why indies will be the mammals that survive the dinosaurs' extinction. You know, is people are getting sick of this shit. Look at Scarlett Johansson. I like whatever her politics are, whatever. What Disney did to her was complete bullshit.
Yep.
You know, and she has every right to be like, look, you promised me this. You told me this is what it was going to be, and then you deliberately held off putting this in theaters so that you could cut what you were going to pay me.
Yeah, but it's fucking Disney. What do you expect? It's like the Marvel of fucking animated. They stole everything.
Yeah,
Did you ever
definitely
do you watch? Did you used to watch those epic rap battles?
Yeah,
That one they did
Those are
with
good.
Jim Henson, Stanley. Dude, that one jerked a tear at the end. Like, you know, that choke in the throat.
yeah.
When dude, that one was sick. Especially when you have the Disney guy coming in and going, "I own you, motherfuckers!" at the assembly line, whimsy.
Coming in.
You ever hear the Seth MacFarlane impersonation of Kermit doing the Taken line on the phone?
Yeah,
I have a particular set of skills for make me a nightmare for people like you. I was like, that's what I like. If there is justice in this world, it would be like the ghost of Jim Henson, like haunting like Eisner or whoever's or Iger or whoever's like, you know, head of Disney.
mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I'm gonna get you, bitch. Like,
Then you have the Miss Piggy,
oh god,
Phantom
oh
of
yeah.
the Opera.
You hear that they told Frank Oz that he's no longer wanted for Miss Piggy?
Yep.
Frank freaking Oz, Bert, like Grover, like this guy's a legend in the industry, and they're just like, yep, get fucked.
Yeah, Yoda.
Yeah, like, man, I mean, if that isn't a sign of how bad things have gotten,
It's what's happening is that people are nothing. The IP's everything.
yep,
It's what happened at Marvel. They told that when I was looking for job after Image, they said it. They want people to recognize the brand and buy for the IP, not the artist, not the writer, because that's what was happening in the late 80s and 90s. People like Jim Lee was drawing a book. 1 million people would buy that book. If he would stop drawing that book or skip one issue, people were not buying that issue. It was that, you know, that's what it is.
yeah,
But they didn't like that. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what it does is it depersons or unpersons the creators, and it decouples them from their own work, and it devalues them. I mean, like you're
Not
saying,
just
like,
that, it
why
also
aren't people
devalues
named?
the IP and the creation to the to the fans in a way.
Well, do you watch Young Ripa at all?
Yep.
I don't know. So I'm a big fan of Eric's. I got his CDs and everything, but he made a really good point about what they're going to do to Blade. And see, I was kind of new to Blade. I loved the Wesley Snipes films. I've never seen the earlier stuff. And from what I'm hearing, they're doing, and what he had in his latest video is just like, why even call it Blade at this point? Like, if you're saying that there's no canon for Blade, which is absolutely preposterous, like, why are you even calling it Blade? You're just using the IP, like you said, you know, the value of the IP,
Yep.
and you're just vandalizing it. Like, Blade has an established canon. He is like, was it some motherfucker's gotta be skating uphill, you know? Like
Dude, he was in one of the first Dracula comic books. He's an icon.
yeah, he is, and like it
He's
blew
like
my
the
mind
Shaft.
Yeah. Damn right. Shut your mouth. Just talking about Blade. We can dig it. But no, it blew my mind when I found out he was actually a Marvel property. Because again, I loved the movies. I think the first one and the second one are probably my favorites. The third one, not so much. But like I loved that stuff. I was like, this is the only vampire movies that I loved more than like Blade stuff. Like, to me, Blade was like the non-scary vampires. Like, I had like the 2-tier system of vampire stuff. Like, love that shit. Like, scary vampires like Salem's Lot or Let the Right One In or something. And then you've got like the non-scary vampire stuff, like anything Anne Rice put out. And then you know, Blade. And to me, Blade was like top tier. It was like, it's like an action film, but it also has that like that gothic vampire shit in it, and it's the peanut butter chocolate union that like it works so well. Or, you know, Underworld I think tried it to a degree, but I still like Blade more.
Yeah, Underworld was good for the one and two.
Mhm. Well, Kate Beckinsale, come on.
Hmm.
Hello,
I
nurse.
thought the third one was pretty good.
And the third one was good, but it was Kate
Fourth one kind
Beckinsale
of went
wasn't
downhill
there.
though.
Yeah, I think the third one was okay because as a prequel, but you wanted to have a sequel after the second one, and then
Yeah.
when you got to the sequel, it was shit.
Yeah. Like just like went off in this other tangent.
Hmm. Like if the comeback would
What,
have
in the
been
third one?
decent, okay. No, that's what I said is the third one is they did a prequel, which is okay, but it's
Yeah.
not the story people wanted.
Yep.
Right? They told a story that people didn't really want that they already explained to us. We didn't really need to see the entire movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Exactly.
already knew what happened. So
Yeah.
it was kind of like a filler. So people were kind of like, okay, it's good, it's okay. But then you come with the actual sequel and you drop the ball in the sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fourth one got weird.
Yeah.
It felt like a very B movie, like it should just been like straight to Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
The fourth one.
Sci-fi original movie.
I didn't even watch the fifth one. I don't even know
There's a fifth
what
one?
happens in that one. Yeah.
Canadian porn talk again.
Oh man.
Hmm.
I don't know. Some people seem to be very much into Canadian porn.
Only vampire with teeth, soul finds scary as Nosferatu. All others just look ridiculous, especially Wimpson with his coat.
Ah, shut up. You love Vincent.
Hmm.
Well, was it in the Salem's Lot series or movie or whatever? They replicated Nosferatu, and it was scary as like they made him into this like non-speech, like he was just like a monster, and it's scary as shit when you're a kid seeing that. So yeah, so I guess that was a big tangent away from Infinitale, but hopefully people like what they're seeing here, and
Yeah, I mean, it looks really good. You know, it's just like I said, just a matter of getting it in front of more people.
yeah. Well, I know that person you had mentioned, was it Tom? Tom Patu there, Comics for Everyone. He's been giving me shout outs all the time on Twitter, and super appreciated.
Yeah, if we can just get you into more streams, that would help too.
Yeah, I wish I was a hot chick.
Well, it would help. It would help.
Yeah, it's no, it's the street value on this is on this snow is kind of low.
It's unfortunate you don't have any original art or just something like you could offer like bigger price tiers. That would help your campaign, I think, too. Usually people have some sort of like big tier, that has like original art or something in it.
Well, I can always ask my artist friends to for some more commissions to see if we can add additional materials. The only problem is the turnarounds on that work. Like the turnaround is usually like a month or two, and it's like I don't have 2 months for this.
Yeah, it takes time.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pelra says he wishes you were a hot chick too.
Yeah.
Lord.
That's I don't know. It's just if you look at like social media or the YouTube channels or whatever, as far as visibility goes, and it's not a ding against them because I mean, nobody likes jealous people, but it's you got to work with what you got, and if you're hot, man, and you're a hot chick, like I'm not holding it against you. Use that because people want to see it, and it works. I've helped friends with their YouTube streaming channels, and I find that the more attractive women will have a lot more luck, a lot more viewers instantly. So good for them, Unfortunately, I got the curse you, Spider-Man.
They're lucky to have that factor that like a lot of people were trying to say, oh, guys are toxic when they go to comic book shop. I'm sorry, I've
No,
been
they're
in
not.
comic book shop. I've been gaming. You've been in this. You see one girl, and she doesn't even have to be cute. She can be fucking ugly.
Oh, man.
Okay, and she'll walk in and actually show interest. Like she'll walk in, people will look at her and go, what's she doing here? And then she'll start going, hey, I'm looking for some D&D card, or I'm looking for some Superman comic. You know, the ones from Dan Jurgen back in the days. And then people are all gonna go, what? Hello, welcome to the place. We don't see many like you. Welcome. It's never the other way around.
I think that just happens
Like,
in Sim's head.
How do you react when you see a comic book, a female comic book artist? You're like, oh shit, there's one.
Yeah. Well, I'm old, so like the trying to mac with the hot chicks or whatever is not something that's in my schedule.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It should not. You're not going everywhere just to try and match.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like, I feel bad. Like it's a two-edged sword. I mean, you got the advertisement, so to speak, the super attractive brand that you're putting out there. It's gonna also attract unwanted attention. And unfortunately, I've seen some stuff where it's like, dude, get the hint. Like, seriously, I don't want to play bouncer here. Like, this is like, she said no. She's being as nice as possible. We're in a professional environment. I don't want to be the Galahad. I'm not even though I'm white, I'm not a white knight. You know, I'll be like, hey, you need some help? Or
I can also say it also happens from the other way.
Yeah.
I've been through it.
You've had the legion of chicks checking you out.
Let's just say I have some boss ladies.
I think Sim's living in a fantasy here.
No, dude, don't worry. Trust me.
Well, I don't.
We trust you, Sam.
But yeah,
dude, I don't have to prove anything to you. Want some pics?
Oh man!
Oh god!
Wait.
Nah, I'm
Phil
joking.
Ryder again with the Canadian porn.
Oh no!
That's the joke I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I could do push-ups without using my arms.
I like the Zohan.
Is a blindingly white knight.
Let's just say that power gets to everybody.
Yeah, it does.
Pale Rider says hello and then shows them his junk. It usually works.
Well, that is a level of exposure that I'm not really. Sorry, I don't know how interested I am in getting arrested. Buy my comic book, you know. Man,
Lordy.
for publicly exposing himself with a what appears to be an infinite tail tattoo on his large ass.
Market placement.
Yeah, exactly. It's streaking the football field, getting arrested. But I got advertisement. It only cost me $650 bail. Yeah. Well, yeah, I definitely appreciate, though, being able to hop on and talk to people about this, because you were speaking about discouragement. For me, I don't know if it was discouragement so much as like you have to have that level of introspection and separate yourself from your work. And it's like, is this just shit? You know what I mean? Like, are people looking at us going, yeah, that sucks, dude. Like, 30 years, that quantity does not equal quality.
So somebody once told me, he goes, you need to convince yourself that what you're doing ain't that great. Like that when you hit, you're happy.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm a consumer as well as a creator. So, you have to be objective to that. I mean, you can't be like, I'm the greatest thing ever, and then have your ego completely tied to your work.
Dude, the amount of time I had somebody going, I have the next biggest hit, the best comic ever. I have like this. It's gonna be the next this, and they're like, okay. And then you check out it, you're like, no, it's not.
You hear the sound of a balloon deflate.
Yeah, and the character straight out of DC Universe Online.
Oof, random character creation.
Yeah.
Hi. Well, I mean, I'm trying to put this out there because it's something that I really loved, and I love to share it with other people. And I'm old now. I'm not like in my teens or in my 20s now or 30s. Like I'm getting to that point where it's like, I want to leave something. I want to be able to leave some type of mark when I'm too old to do anything. I mean, as it is, I got a
I
lot
just
of
say
nerd
you don't
fans.
you don't want to you don't want to regret. You want to know that you tried everything.
Exactly. That is a perfect summation. Is you don't want the regrets of the things you didn't do. And
Exactly.
if this fails, it's like, well, I tried. You
You
know.
give it like that, you know, when you're on your deathbed, even if you didn't succeed, you can go, I gave it all I fucking had.
Yep. Exactly. That's and I wish more people would do that. And that's
Mhm.
why I jump on these indie campaigns, is because these are the people that are doing this because they love it. They're doing this not because they have a boardroom of marketing or shareholders telling them that Disney wants another communist friendly diversity comic book, or we got to turn characters a certain
Yeah.
identity that they weren't, or whatever. It's no, this is their stuff. Like Fiendish. I keep bringing back to Rini, but like Fiendish, nobody's telling her what needs to be changed. That's her story.
And if you
Mhm.
and the more you back us, the more you support us, the more we can keep control of all that stuff without having to sell any of it.
Yep. And I don't know if you've seen that cartoon somebody made of Ethan Van Sciver giving this amazing speech about how Marvel and how these big like the mainstream entertainment comic books were destroyed. He's like, these people, they come in there and they'd be like, wow, nice comics you have here. It'd be a shame that somebody calls it a sexist, and they like rip down like an Elektra poster or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like you got to change everything. And then they show like Spider-Man, a close up of his torso, and then they zoom out and he's got like the communist symbol on his chest, and it's a fat like black woman, like boobs and everything. And it's like, where's the classics? Where's the things that like people will like, the icons people will look back on and be like, remember?
No, not just that. Talking about Icon, they just finally, after all this shit of trying to make Superman Asian, black, this, that, now they bring back Icon.
Yeah.
Like, where was that milestone thing? Like, you should have left all the other characters alone and just invest, like, put like a year or two of like big mainstream crossover with milestone comics. Bring back Static. Bring back.
I always look at
Icon.
like, I don't know, maybe because I'm not as invested in the mainstream comics, that I find it kind of like WE. I used to watch WE all the time, and you always got people talking about they need to do this or they need to do that. But that opens the window for like AEW and stuff like that. I follow New Japan, so I don't even know what goes on in W anymore. So I think a lot of people just waste a lot of energy focused on a product that's not going to change. It's always going to get worse. And I don't. I think it's kind of like, I know it's a good focus point for like streams and stuff, because a lot of people like will continuously kind of go through their pet of like, oh, this sucks, they should do this. I mean, it just sucks. So there's nothing you can do about it besides just kind of move on and promote and do stuff with newer properties. And to hell with Batman, to hell with Superman. I mean, it was good back then. We're going to have different nostalgia value to it than the young generation. That's like us saying, SpongeBob should be this way or that way. People,
Can't believe
you know what I'm saying?
SpongeBob.
Our generation doesn't care. That generation does. I grew up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so I love the 80s. I didn't really like the 2002-ish or whenever that series came out. The one with the head was Sean Astin, and then was pretty good. But then they changed back. But, I could be one of those guys that, Turtles needs to be this way. Turtles needs to be that way. I had my era of it. It was good. It's changed to what it is now. I think comic books the same way. Like Superman, you can make 50 different thousand Supermans. Or what's when Wonder Woman? Is it Wonder Woman they're talking? Or no, Raven? Is it Raven's daughter? That everybody's like obsessed with, about how she's like this little fat lesbian or whatever the hell she is.
No, that's Starfire.
But
Dude, it's
Starfire.
even
Yeah,
worse.
Starfire.
The character looks
you
like
see,
the
you see
editors.
the point I'm saying? Like people spend so much energy keeping up on this stuff. It's weird to me. As I don't know. I guess that's why, I don't know, I'm in the indie stuff. But like WE was the same way. Like I have so many friends that would be like, oh, this happened, and this happened. It's not going to change, man.
Yeah, I mean,
on.
People who are they can't let go of it, and they don't want to look for something new to get into. But if they took all that negative energy they're putting out,
let's say Superman turns out the way you want it for 5 months. You get the stories you want. It's still it's a character that they're going to just keep running until it doesn't sell anymore. Anyways, no matter what the story is, there's always going to be bad stories, good stories, but it gets kind of tiring because you can only do that character so much because they're never going to have an ending to it until it just doesn't sell. You know,
Well, I think you hit on something too about like being miserable. Like we're holding on to these properties that no longer have any like.
And that was stolen, by the way.
Yeah, they were hijacked by, like, as Ethan Van Sciver put it, the blue land whales or the blue-haired land whales. Like, they're gone. Like, it's time to move on. Like, mourn their loss and get new stuff.
I was watching a stream the other day, and the guy was talking about, well, if I had Batman, I'd make it darker. I mean, I like the guy on the stream. I'm not trying to bash him, but I was like, how dark can you go with Batman at this point? Like, I mean, the original story, his parents are killed in an alleyway, and he seeks vengeance on. And we've seen the Joker rape people. We've seen him cut his own face off. We've seen him beat a Robin to death with a crowbar. Don't tell me you can come up with something even better. The point is, it's all been done. Only thing that's left to do is trash.
Yeah, but I don't think he meant by going darker that what's been done, but meaning with the darker version of him.
But we've seen darker versions of him. We've seen every version you can of that character at this point.
Yeah,
it's just
at this point, so much time has passed. They've done everything with these characters.
Yeah, it's been done. Everybody thinks if I get Batman or if I get Superman, I can do this. Who cares at this point? Let it go. Yeah. Invest in something else. If you don't like what the product's giving you, you got to invest in something else for those products to succeed.
Yeah, my thing is, if all of
a sudden you do like the Batman that's coming out, well, there goes all your new creativity, because like they give you what you want for a couple of months, and then you're happy for
and then
quick fix, and then it goes back to shit.
Well, yeah, you'll get you get that character for like one run until a new creativity comes in, and it goes back to whatever you don't like. And the thing is if people just took all this negative energy they're putting out into things they can play about and instead focused it on promoting a creator that's doing the things that you want, you could be getting what you'd like.
And I know it's hard. I know it's hard for streamers because I know, like, especially with the CG community and stuff, where we gravitate towards it brings in viewers. I don't know how these people have time to do it, but they do. They can spend hours watching and documentations on what DC is doing today, or what Marvel's doing today, or what characters changed or swapped genre. The fact that they watch all this stuff, but I know it's material. But man, how long does that last before that gets kind of old too? Though, like who cares? At some point, like, why do you care? Like, just move on.
I had a friend once say, complaining without doing anything about it is just bitching, and nobody likes a bitch.
Yep.
It's like, that's why we're making this indie stuff. Like, it's fine. Yeah. Batman, Robin's now gay or whatever. Okay, fine. But I'm over here with Cyberfrog. I'm over here.
Exactly. That's
Like,
I mean, it's like me, from my perspective as growing up as an artist, right? I never wanted to be a Marvel or a DC artist, but there's always one or two, some characters that you're like, oh yeah, I'd like to actually get like a little run on that one. And obviously, when those are the type of thing that inspired you into either being a fan or into doing those type of books.
Yeah.
You can be very sensitive to them ruining your character when you're like, okay, I want to let's say I want to draw Superman, and then you get to the point where you're gonna draw Superman and go, well, now Superman's gay, and you're like, well, okay.
He's now bald and he's a fat dude.
Yeah, that's not my Superman.
Yeah, what the hell is that? Yeah, I mean, it's, but that's what I meant by like mourn the losses, but like once the losses are mourned, like move on to the newer stuff. Because if we stick with the old and we understand that it's hijacked and we're trying to fight a losing battle, because at the end of the day, the property holders hold the creative control. Like, we as the fans, we don't, as much as we want to, we don't. And when they're kind of vandalizing it or like beating it in front of you, you know what I mean? It's like they're hanging this thing up and everybody turn your back.
It's like they're stuck in trying to provoke, to create like the next big thing for them, like to stand out more than respect for the IP. So they'll come in and do a character and not even know anything about it and turn Batman into Superman.
Well, I mean, that's even going on in video games. I mean, look at what's happening with Knights of the Old Republic. I mean, the chick literally said, I'm not a big fan of Knights of the Old Republic. And she what is it? hopes that male Star Wars fans of the original trilogy die mad or something. And it's like, why would you, like, these are your customers. Like these are the people that are giving you their money.
Yeah.
They're the reason you have a job, you cunt.
Yeah, like again, it blew my mind how much of a disdain these creators have. Like, fans should be like the people they like. Hell yeah, dude! You just totally bailed. Like, you helped make this. Like, this would not exist if you weren't buying tickets and putting your ass in our seats in theaters.
Yep.
You know, and that, I mean, where am I going wrong here? Because I'm not seeing that in like mainstream.
But you got to think about it this way too. As bad as it all is, we all talk about it and they know it. That's why it's such a big thing. How many channels do we have to watch where everybody's talking about it? It is free publicity every single day. Every channel I turn to, somebody's complaining about DC, complaining about Marvel, complaining about a character I just talked about. I wouldn't even think about the for these channels. So it's working. We can bitch about it all damn day. It's working.
Yeah. As long as it works, they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. It's what is it? There is no such thing as bad publicity.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's sad because I don't like, I mean, with my stuff, I'm a nobody. Like, but say it blows up, like say in a Mick world, okay? Say this thing was like, you know, if I ruled the world or whatever, and this thing actually blows up and becomes huge. I'm not gonna sit like every one of the people that's liking this stuff, I want to geek out with them. You know, I want to be like when George R.R. Martin spent like hours talking with randos about, you know, the different houses of Westeros, and they're like, oh really? Like, I'm gonna be that fat dork in a fisherman's cap, sitting down on a couch talking with people and being like, dude, we could do this forever, you know, but I gotta, and it's sad because mainstream isn't that anymore. I mean, they've come in, they've shit on us, and I hate saying us because, you know, we all have different kind of perspectives on this, but it's, they just shit on people that buy their products, and then they generate off of that negative publicity. And it's like, at what point, I think it was Razor Fist actually said, the opposite of love isn't hate, but indifference. And I want to indifference the fuck out of this.
We've entered that time, I think, too, where we're not looking at just, it used to be walking into comic book shops and you flip through the pages. Do I like this? It was about the cover art, right? You're like, oh man, this is amazing. Well, that kind of started going away once we entered the realm of the internet. Once Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that, anything negative just blows up, right? I just feel like Marvel and stuff like that has found a way to market that. Like, hey, what can we do that's going to get everybody riled up and make articles about it?
Yep.
And that's it. You got billions and billions of people sharing a post about Superman. Is he going to be gay? Next thing you know, that's all they have to do. They don't even have to do it. They can just be like, we might make him gay. Why not? Boom. Facebook lit up. You know, every YouTuber talking about it. Everybody's getting angry. Anger. I mean, it just people feed on it. It creates views and it creates sales because now everybody's interested. Well, he's gay, but how gay is he? I need to find out.
Yeah, I'm going to buy this book and trash it. Yeah,
exactly. And now they're going to have it on their channel. Yeah. So why does Marvel have to change? Why does DC have to change? We're all still giving them the exact same attention, if not more, at this point, because they found a way to market it. They're like, how do we market our shit that's not doing well?
Piss them
we make it controversial. And then everybody's going to be talking about it. Everybody who even hates us, they're going to talk about us. And so they win that way. So, I mean, it sucks. I don't know what to do about it, but I'm just saying that's just how I see it.
I think you nailed it. Yeah, that's spot on. I mean, they've become salt miners. Like, that's their marketing, strategy is to piss off people. Like, seriously, like, I don't ever recall prior to like the late 2000, or I'd say like 2010-ish, where I've ever seen marketing that's like, no insert, like, no white men allowed, or like, Brie Larson up there, and she's like, do I care what some 40-something-year-old white man has to say about this? No, like nobody else has ever said that in marketing, and I think she capitalized on it. I think that her and her ilk are like, look, we can salt mine the shit out of these people because they're gonna hate rage and buy our products anyways.
And then you have the other ones that are buying because we're poor little fucking Tims.
Well, yeah, it's like the Howard Stern method, right? He had people who hated him watching him just as much as the people who loved him.
Yep. I remember that. And I just want to be, just like apathetic to it. I'd rather just be like,
well,
hey, look.
That's the worst thing you can be in in this kind of like thing, and entertainment is people indifferent to you, just
Yeah.
neutral, because then nobody's talking about you, nobody's there's nothing.
Yeah. Well, like have
Yeah.
you read Jawbreakers at all? Myers, your boy.
Yeah, I've read Jawbreakers.
Yeah, I was expecting going in like, oh boy, what's going to be in this? Because I've heard all the hype from the other side, so to speak, and I got it, and I was like, this is actually pretty innocuous. This is like GI Joe. This is good. Like, this is it's not. It doesn't have any of this controversy that the mainstream or whatever has placed on it. But I think the mainstream did him a favor by doing that, because I bought it out of curiosity. I was like, oh, let's see what this is, and holy crap, this is. Well, Cyberfrog I had actually seen prior to, and here's the thing is, we like to deny it all while we can, but we do judge a book by its cover. And I saw Cyberfrog and I was like, that chrome effect looks freaking awesome. Yoink. And then I was like, oh, from the guy who did Green Lantern. Okay.
Well, I grew up with TMNT, so anything with mutant animals, like
hell yeah.
I'm like,
but yeah, we got Ginger in the chat. Hello, sir. Woodrow says agreed to sold. People need to learn. You have to let the consumers decide that. Telling them what to think either way can turn them off to your work before you get a chance.
Yeah, that's true.
Who else we got? What else they saying? Jen says
really
he's a
Ethan Van
big
Sciver's
fan of
come
Dave
well
and a bull
with
Batman.
Oh, sorry.
Dang it, Shane.
I like
I'm sorry.
His delay's kicking in.
My little delay, yeah.
Oh well. Let's see. Apparently, there is a new Hawkeye trailer.
Yep, I saw that this morning. It looks like it's going to replace Hawkeye with Kate Archer or whatever.
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop. Sorry.
They wanted full female Avengers. They said it.
Yeah, like after what they did to all the heroes in Endgame, I'm done. Like that.
All I have to say, it's there's an old expression in French: "Qu'est-ce qui est bon pour Minou est bon pour Pitou." What's good for the cat, it's good for the dog.
Mm-hmm.
So like rules for one, not for the never fucking work. So, dude, we should all invest into making all men team. Like it's like what the fuck happens? Like guys are not allowed to have men only gym or anything.
Well, look at what they
can make all women this, and now it's going to the fact of even the color of your skin. So it's like, what's really happening?
Yeah, it's divisive. At its very core.
Yeah, but it's the people coming in going, people, we need more tolerance, we need more acceptance, but we accept and tolerate anybody.
Yeah, get out of here, cracker. Whoa, what?
Like, let's take that word back.
But see, I think it all just goes to they just know how to market. They know by doing this, it's drawing in people.
Yeah,
they're drawing in all the haters because
it's
working. If it wasn't working, they wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. That's what is it? When nothing makes sense, follow the money.
Yep.
And they're making bank. So clearly they're doing something right. So does that mean that in Infinite?
But you know what's happening? I've said it before. If you look at their numbers, right?
Uh-huh.
They have numbers, but what they've been doing is the sales from their comics is down, right?
Yeah, that's true.
They're selling a lot digital, so 99 cents maybe shit, right? But their new books are really down. But did you see how much they have invested in reprints? Those omnibuses. This is what's selling crazy. So what they're doing is everybody that hate what's happening or don't like it, they're going back the old yeah, and they're reprinting them as hell. But the thing is, they're also killing the collectors market by doing this shit.
No value anymore. It's too much supply. Yeah,
I don't. I mean, that's the mark. That's on them though. I don't invest in comic just because it's going to be worth something. So
yeah.
To me, somebody's work should be shared. Like if it's something rare, it's rare. But if it's reprinted, most of the artists are probably dead at this point anyway, so they've already made their money. It's just, what I'm saying? It's just some young guy being greedy and getting money at this point. You know,
Zombie Kirby.
Right now, it's like the Kirby finally gets
Yeah.
a bit of money.
Well,
Pillar said, I gave it all I effing had. Sim's last words before the porn director fired.
Oh.
Oh,
Well. So some advice for my Indiegogo campaign page. Should I put like, I don't want any straight white men?
I don't know. You might
No,
get
you don't
people
have the back
talking.
issues for them to buy.
Yeah, get like
Like
a
you say there, that works, man. It has people riled up, so like it gets the old people like going back and buying those back issues. They're like, you know what? I enjoyed the old Spider-Man before he was gay,
yeah.
so I'm gonna go buy those issues. They say they're selling them. They're selling to everybody. They found a way to market it, man.
Yeah,
You still
I don't know.
on?
I mean,
yes, you do.
I just
taking
worry.
advantage of it. I've been buying some omnibuses.
Yeah, I've been doing it with physical media for movies as well, because after Disney kind of started censoring all of their videos on streaming, I was like, I'm gonna buy up things like All in the Family, the TV series, because I know that could not exist today, and I know that's going to get hit by the Ministry of Truth, in censorship. So before it gets sanitized, I want to have a physical.
I know that's what. That's one thing I hate about all this streaming stuff is like the Hulu and Netflix, because I love Stranger Things, but they were in talks last year about how people were complaining about there being too much smoking in it, so they're going to try and find a way to possibly edit out some of the smoking scenes, which is almost impossible when you go back and watch that show, because like Hopper's continuously smoking. But
it's just like, what do they fart?
But it's but you can't get a whole, like, I think maybe season 2's finally out, but without being able to get those copies, these streaming networks can change anything and everything they want that you loved about it and make it something. I don't know. George Lucas, Star Wars is a perfect example, and they switched stuff in it and added scenes. If you want the original version,
do you remember
everything was coming so digital? E.T., where they took out the walkie-talkie or the guns and put walkie-talkies.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what the hell was that? Like, what are they doing? This guy's like, hold on, I gotta call someone.
Yeah, you're just kind of shitting all over the original, what made it so great from beginning to end, because now it needs to be rejudged. Like, was that scene as great, as intense now? Because now the kid's not in danger of getting shot. They got walkie-talkies running around. So, you change the formula,
Yeah.
Because you can't make the government or anything look bad anymore.
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
then we can make certain parts of, or certain governments look bad, just not like the party.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely take the feedback that I've received here and update this page. The idea about the perks, where it has one where you can actually see in the thumbnail the inclusion of the cards, bundled together with one of the books or whatever. I'll add that. That's pretty simple. As far as sketching goes, I'll talk to my artists. I don't know what the turnaround will be, because the trifecta. You can have it fast, you can have it cheap, or you can have it good. Pick two. So I guess I'm learning that lesson of having better stuff to kind of showcase. So in the next one, if there is one, I'll definitely make sure that those are included before I launch.
Yeah, we just gotta get you on other streams.
Yeah. Do you think what I've shown though is definitely a viable product? Like,
yeah, most certainly, yes.
Oh yeah, especially that trailer. I say, man, that was like an IMAX trailer, like voice going on there. I was like, hey.
Yeah. I had multiple voice actors try out, and it's originally it was supposed to be narrated by somebody that sounds exactly like Cersei Lannister, and then I was like, why don't I make it sound more like the hero, the main guy that's on the front? So yeah, I mean, I've spent quite a few takes on that. Some of the earlier ones I've had friends just tear into and be like, dude, do not put this on the page, this is trash. I was like, okay, thanks for saving me.
Soul says to Infinitail, Whitey, I found another thing on the campaign page. It's always good to put the page count in the first paragraph because that's something people want to know right away.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
if you-
I put that at the very top. I think it actually says like, yeah, the very top of the campaign.
Oh yeah, it doesn't hurt to put it down like right in here too,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
the very first section there. Like you want like your page count, your pitch, and then some like preview art.
See, so just
Usually
prove
at the
to you
very
how
at the
quickly
top one.
people go through campaigns and miss stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
No, it
Well,
happens. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Like one
I
of the
mean,
things that we used to make fun of with Ace was the fact that people hate scrolling down. So if he has to scroll down more than 2, 3, and you're done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They call that the below the fold. Like,
Yeah.
it's
So
looking at your
make
shit.
sure you place your things accordingly to build the interest for them slowing down.
Yeah. I mean, I work in in UX design, like user interface, and we have the saying that like user interface is like a joke. If you have to explain it, it probably sucks. So when I get feedback like that, it's something that you gotta take into consideration and be like, oh, okay, people are saying this, let's put it in. It can't hurt. I mean, okay, so they know. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you get over informed that there's 50 pages in this thing? Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, so let's see what else we got here. The creator's outlet's back with us. He says, "Streams, you say? If only you knew someone." Yes, Mr. Creator's Outlet also does streaming. You could reach out to him.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. Soul's putting the link to your YouTube.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, Soul's the links man. All right, so we've been going on for quite some time. I think it's about time we start to wrap this up. Whew. Yeah, Soul's putting the link to Creators Outlet's channel.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think we need to try to get you on more streams, like maybe Irene's, Raging Golden Eagles. I mean, any of those fellas, Bancroft's. If you can get on Mandy's.
Bancroft's a really good one too, because like his channel's pretty big right now, and he takes on guests pretty quickly.
Yep.
So
Yeah, he
he'll
might.
get back to you pretty quick usually.
Yeah, if you can show him your campaign, he probably would like what he sees. I'm sure. This is certainly a high quality book. So I think he'd probably have you on.
Great.
But Irene would be good because she has some tabletop people there.
Reach out to Red. Follow Red when they do their show.
Red Gaze, yeah, that'd be another one.
Yeah,
So there is.
I definitely like. I've tried reaching out. The pick
Ryan
me,
Wynn.
me.
Oh yeah, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan Wynn with his ship show.
Yeah. Comic ship crew. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah,
What's Vinny's channel? I know Vinny has people on sometimes.
Yep.
If there's any foot in the door that I could get from you guys, I'd appreciate that.
CG UK, that'd be another show. To go on. I'd like to see you and Rob. I think
Reach
you
out
guys
to
would get along
Pops.
well. Yeah, Pops.
Pops.
Pops Van Zant. The Red Valkyrie. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see if we can help you get on some of these shows, maybe.
Sweet, I'd appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys could be, if this thing takes off, you'd be like, hey, we were the first. That's right. The morning roast.
Yeah, I do sometimes. Since we're always having on new people, I do kind of like feel a little good when somebody we've had on for the first time that like other people have never had on, and the group suddenly starts to get around and they start blowing up. Yeah, I still take credit for Irene.
Oh, we discovered her.
That's right. We were the first to have her on.
Man, well, I mean, to her credit, her stuff, like, it's amazing. I mean, I'm not
Yes.
I'm not kissing ass, and I'm obviously not simping, but like, I saw her stuff and I was like, holy crap,
Mhm.
this is cool. I want to see an anime of this.
Mhm. Yeah. She does have really high quality work.
And she has her own unique style, which is, in my opinion, is amazing. Like, a lot of times you'll see work and you can't really place it. You'll be like, okay, this is, who does this belong to? It's kind of like modern day shooters. Show a screenshot and you don't know if it's Call of Duty, modern,
Mhm.
Battlefield or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
you look at Irene's art and you're like, that's Irene's. Like, there's no question about it. It's got this nice, like, anime-esque, cartoon-esque, unique style that it's like, wow, okay, That's hers. I can tell it right off the bat, and I'm hoping I'm doing some of that with our stuff here in Infinitale. But when people ultimately the biggest comparison I've had is, oh, this looks just like what is it, ElfQuest, and I'm hoping that as the the campaign evolves, or as the books become more visible, people will start to notice, oh, there is an actual unique style here, or to some degree it sets itself apart. We don't have the mantis eyebrows, or we don't have that, oh, that's definitely Dungeons and Dragons or something.
It's all about, sometimes it's about the character development, man. I mean, like I said, we talked about Dritz earlier. He's just a dark elf, but now he's just so known,
Yeah.
It's gonna have that
Clear Zealot says he has an opening tomorrow night
Oh, sweet.
on his show. If you're, I guess he is extending the invite to you.
I appreciate that. I'll.
Oh, but now he might have changed his mind because he's calling you a simp.
Let me see if I can get him on Twitter.
What the hell? Well, this is weird. Have you seen? Hold on a minute. You all know Dragon Ball, so let me show. What the hell? This just showed up on my Facebook when I was looking at it. What the fuck is going on? Look at a piece of chicken on his head.
Like some chicken. Well, that summed it up pretty well.
No!
No!
Great. I like that.
あなたのために調理されたミートボール、ほんでまよ。
I like that. That was funny. Right. Pedro says it's okay to simp for Irene. It's allowed. That's worse than some of Sim's videos. No need to watch Dragon Ball Z now.
Yeah, summed it up all perfectly.
Oh gosh, that caused me to forget what I was going to say. Got completely lost it.
Don't forget to sub, like, and share.
Yeah, I think we need to wrap this one up. It's been a good long while of talking. Normally this is like, we normally do like what, maybe an hour and a half, and it's been like over 3 hours. Oh no, it's not you. We got carried away. But I think I'll probably end up. I'll probably end up back in your book myself.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, I like the look of it. It does look like it would be a fun read, and the art is very good.
Very cool.
And there was a few people in the chat that were saying that they liked it too, and they were going to put it on their lists to back. So I think you'll have some backers there as well.
Hell yeah, thanks.
There's just so many projects right now.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I hope none of them are straight white men.
What's this, Sam?
Oh, redoing the first cover of the Mona that I had. But this is what I wanted to show. You guys see that one?
Oh yeah. It's Cerberus.
Yep. So yesterday I decided that I was gonna re-ink that old cover. Here's the old original pose. It was a while ago, so decided to redo it.
Oh wow. I just got a Twitter hello Renee Simps.
I don't simp for Irene. I only simp for Katie. Let's see. Oh,
that's
Mo Big showed right up at the end. Look at that. Come on, Mo. What are you doing? Showed up at the end. You need to check out Mr. Fisk's project, Mo. It's pretty good looking work. His trailer is awesome. The art is great, and hey, Mo might be able to help you, Mr. Fisk, with reaching out to Bancroft. He's always in Bancroft's chat and stuff, so he might have he might be able to have a contact. He might be an inside man.
Well, I'd appreciate any and all support. So if Mo is up for it, that would be great. If not, thanks anyways.
If anybody can help Mr. Fisk get on some streams, he would appreciate it.
Yep.
Mo says he's posted the link to your campaign a few times in Bancroft's chat, and he said he'll ask.
Awesome. Thank you.
No, that's real nice. That's whether Bancroft feels like gatekeeping me. But yeah. All right. So thanks everybody for joining us. We definitely appreciate it. For those of you who stuck through this whole stream, you have quite the endurance. We truly appreciate you. Soul is a champ. Soul's a champ. Look at him. He's still keeping with us, and he's still posting links. Hercules right there. All right, Mr. Shane, glad to have you back. I'm glad at least one of my fellow hosts shows up on time. Not pointing anything out. That. Not saying any names.
And I can also say that I've missed less shows than Chris did.
Lies. I am like Gandalf. I'm never late.
Yeah, and often just disappears and nobody hears from you for like 2 weeks.
Important sugar business, okay? All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for joining me in the panel. And we will see you all on the next one. Later.
Cheers.